The holidays aren't about switching off. They're about switching on. It's time to activate holiday mode.
Let's do it.
That is beyond special! Oh, wow!
Cool! That's what I'm talking about.
This is your time. Holiday mode activated.
What a rush.
Get connected to DSTV and choose from a world of amazing kids entertainment this holiday.
Atachin chitab kolenchi neloyab emet cheitun eng ketesiet noton nechome nebo Kass TV watile eng kila kasitab aeng kemi twan eng kibagenge kainenyu ko Shadrack Mutai Itagat. Kotoi en betut nebo raini rutoitanyin President William Ruto en county nebo Narok kokoito kurset en meng'ik kokochi kasubet serkalinyin neboto kokochi inendet boroindo nebo kelewen eng kasarta nebo oeng lewenisiet nekiyoe eng kenyit nenyone.
Hapa Narok tuko na jamii zote za Kenya. Musikubali viongozi ambao wanataka kutuletea fitina ya ukabila. Sisi tunataka tutembee pamoja kama Wakenya, kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu, kujitenga ni udhaifu. Wale watu ambao hawana agenda wanatuuzia sera ya siasa ya mambo ya ubaguzi, mambo ya chuki, mambo ya ukabila, mambo ya fitina. Sisi tunawaambia Kenya hiyo haiko na sisi tena. Hawa wananchi wanataka kuungana, wanataka barabara ijengwe, wanataka stima waunganishiwe, wanataka watoto wao wasome, wanataka matibabu hospitalini. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Tuendelee ama tuendelee? Tuendelee ama tuendelee? Kwa hivyo nyinyi watu wa Narok mnasemaje? Ati Narok mnasemaje? Ati Narok mnasemaje? Narok North mnasemaje? Narok mnasemaje? Hebu nione tutam ya Narok, nione tutam. Mimi naona kuna watu tutaonyesha kivumbi watashangaa. Si ndio? Na nimewaambia wale watu, unajua wale watu ni wakulipwa. Wale watu ni wakupangwa. Wale watu ni vibaraka. Wameambiwa ati wakuje wapinge mimi, wapinge SHA, wapinge barabara, wapinge housing. Mimi nataka niwaambie nyinyi watu wa kutumwa, watu wa vibaraka wa mtu fulani, nyinyi tafuteni sera my friends. Hawa wananchi wanataka kuchagua sera ambayo itawapeleka mbele. Wanataka agenda ya kuwapeleka mbele. Wanataka mpango ya kuwapeleka mbele. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Na mimi nimewaambia juzi, hata kama wewe umelipwa, hata kama wewe umekodeshwa, hata kama wewe umepangwa, umeambiwa kwenda pinga housing, wewe uweze kutumia akili kidogo. Ujue hii housing utapinga namna gani? Ati unakuja kutuambia ati unapinga housing kwa sababu kuku haiwezi kupanda stairs ama haiwezi kupanda orofa. Wewe tumia akili my friend, wacha ufala. Si watu wengi walikuwa wanaongea mambo ya Mau. Si hii Mau imefanywa siasa miaka nyingi. Mimi niliwaambia ya kwamba Mau haitafanywa siasa tena. Hii Mau sasa tumetoa title deed ya Mau, iko mali ya watu wa Narok County. Na iko na title deed yake. Hakuna mtu atakanyaga Mau tena. Na ile wananchi walikuwa wanaishi hapa karibu, wote tumewapatia title deed zao na tumetoa title deed ya Mau. Sasa Mau iko secure. Ile kitu tutaendelea kufanya ni kuweka fence maneno ya Mau, kwa sababu Mau ni ya muhimu, inatuletea mvua, inatusaidia mambo ya mazingira. Vile vile niliwaambia mambo ya Kedong. Mambo ya Kedong mimi nimemaliza. Nimetoa ekari 10,000 nikasema iende kwa wananchi wa hapa Narok na muendelee na
Kokikoito kurset koityi kandoik ak biikab emet koamda kalyet eng kasarta nechopchingei lewenisiet nekiyoe en kenyit nenyone. Kabinetonen tuyet nekaindochi bengeit noto nebo NCIC eng kibagenge ak noto nebo IEBC oletokyingei noto koito kurset nekobit kalyet ak kibagenge kichopchingei lewenisiet nekiyoe en kenyit nenyone kenyitab 2027.
We must elect good people. Imagine when we talk about Gunism and all that. Can you imagine if you had a parliament of thugs? Yeah. Because if you glorify leaders who excite you on a stage with violence, and you think that that is the best example of leadership, then eventually you're going to have a parliament that is full of thugs. That's going to be the consequence. People who don't respect the rule of law. You'll be creating a very dangerous institution, clothed as a parliament, but it is a dangerous institution. So we need to really think through some of these things. There's no fun when you see young people dead, either through a bullet or through a machete or through a blunt object that has been used against these people. We must deal with these things squarely, collectively. We must not allow political lynching.
The Ministry of Interior stands ready to work with NCIC and IEBC and all the relevant agencies to translate the roadmap into action. The 2027 general election must demonstrate that Kenya can compete politically without sacrificing peace, unity, and national progress.
I am the first person who would love to have uchaguzi bila norm. Within 350 days to the 10th of August 2027, which is the D-Day for our general elections 2027. So this date is no longer a distant date in our calendar. It is a date that is that will be a defining moment to our republic, because our electoral history carries some both painful lessons but also good lessons. In some of these elections, those of you who recall 1992, 1997, there were tensions sometimes that resulted to incidences of violence. In 2007, of course, that was a very devastating moment for us as a country. We always remember what happened that time, and that should inform what we are going to do to secure a peaceful and credible elections come 2027.
This is an important moment for us as the Fourth Commission. We have been in office for slightly over 3 months, but in the political environment in which we assumed office, it has certainly been long enough to understand the size of responsibility that we have as the Fourth Commission of NCIC. So, our ambition should not simply be that Kenya survives another election. We should demand more from ourselves. Our ambition should be that 2027 general election becomes a further evidence of the maturity of Kenya's democracy, that we can compete fearlessly and fiercely and still remain one country, that we can disagree profoundly and still live together the morning after the election.
Kawaita kurset kibagengeit noton nebo Kalenjin Miyot Council of Elders koityi biikab emetab Kenya mising ko kandoik kokochi konyit nemagat ofisit noton nebo president iwekyin icheket kongoi kora president eng kakwautiet nekoimuch koib koregunen aliet noton nebo mbolea koboto aliet nebo keswek en emet mwaet kole toreto noton eng nyorunetab amitwogik cheyomotin.
Kondojin nebo ng'echeret eng kokwonotok bo boisiek chebo Kalenjin Miyot Council of Elders Benjamin Kitur komwa boisiechotok kole nyolu eng biik tugul kokonyit kandoik mising ko president nebo emetab Kenya ako istoege kora chubetab kandoik.
Ara anyun kito nekimoche kesom Kenya komugul komakemoche ng'alekab chubet, kimoche kekonyit ofisit nebo president konyor kondit office of the president. Imiorit yoto konyitin biik. Makiyoni ng'alekab chubisiet, kainaik cho kiketaun chekikemwaitaenen komanyolu kainaik choto. Akelechinin momin kimuitenye kaineng'ung kong'etu ko Kipchirchir. Arap Ruto kainet nekikonin sigikuk. Akelenji kikochin Mungu kokonin kandoinatet nemotyene chi age tugul eng Kenya. Wokinye neikere tai. Imoche ilong'u emoni kot konyol kokerkeit ak emotinwek chumbo sang.
Mwae icheket kole kokotoi komite biik chotok chemakonyiti president ak kandoik alak nesome kobit kondit.
Kokikolenjin kora kemoche keterekten kalyet en Rift Valley ak kerib bororiosiek chekikobo Rift Valley keikun agenge ak kemeng'isien kalyet ak ketonon kokikolenjin amun mabwaitanyon ak kanenyon nekibo kwanisiekyo ko Rift Valley keker kele kakisochi ng'ung'unyatab Rift Valley asikoboren lagokab Kalenjin. Kakisochi mbaretab Rift Valley asingemin bandek keyai tuguk chekiyoe kenyorunen borotet.
Some icheket kora neranik koistoege kandoik chotok chemuch koboisie icheket koib tuiyosiek chetete kandoik alake nesome kora kikochi boroindo kandoindet age tugul korutochi kebeberwek tugul.
Moche kikochi tugul boroindo yekowo kemeto ng'alekab kewir karisiek, kemeto ng'alekab kelya amu kokeker yoto kobendi singobit ng'alek cheu cho koumiondos biik akot chekamakotinye hatia. Kokisom keyai siasa nebo kalyet. Kingen kele kakwo kasit kot kouit, ngot kong'emak emet, ko bichoto sponsoni biik tugul kotoi boriet, kobendi kobetos eng emet. Ichek komwoe kolonye ndegeisyek akobo sang. Ara katechwok biikchok, murenikyok chekokose kutini, alecho komete ng'oliondono, ngonyo chi kwamwa logoi, bas satya koistogei. Otonone tononeng'wong nekokemwa kele tugul president nebo Kenya konyolu kwo tutam.
Kailos icheket kakwautiet nekoib president koregune alyetab keswek ak katoldoleiwek asikobit kotoret kabatik yetete kowek mbarenikwak.
Kongoi amu ng'oliondono komwa akobo fertilizer kosubkei ak kemeut nekomoen kot ko nguno kowendi kouitu ng'alekab amitwogik. Kele kongoi amu koiker ile nyolu iketite kabatik koba mbar kokoitilwech mbolea kong'ete silingisiek 2,500 akoi siling 2,000. Nerube kora kokoiyan iboisie rabisiek ikonu asikobit ketil akot keswek asikomit kenyoru mugulel keketitege mbar. Kelen kongoi noto president kotoretin Mungu kondoun.
Baiman ole baiman.
Baiman.
Alaki mwajin bororiet tugul Kenya. Mi kalyet nyole mi.
Mitei.
Tinye kenyisiek taman tinye ole tinye.
Tinye.
Kang'alaldos icheket kasarta noton katuiyo ak boisiek kobun kebeberwek cheterter eng taunetab Eldoret. Kong'eteke taunetab Eldoret eng county nebo Uasin Gishu logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Isaac Kogei.
Kagomonge alage en meng'ik chebo county nebo Kericho boiboenchi kakwautiet nekomuib serikali nebo kechor oliet nebo mbolea koboto kechor oliet nebo keswek en mwaet kole wendi kotoret noton en eleo nyorunetab amitwogik cheyomotin. Kawek kongoi ichek President Dr. William Samoei Ruto kole kosom Ministry nebo kabatisiet koker kole kabit mbolea ak keswek en kasarta nemokyingei kabatik.
Kwa sababu nyinyi pia ni wakulima na tulipata matatizo kidogo na makilimo yetu kwa sababu ya mambo ya mvua sehemu zingine. Ile mbolea mlinunua 2,500 mwaka huu. Kuanzia mwezi ujao nimepunguza tena ikuje 2,000 peke yake.
Kong'ololjin ketishani en oret ne inegen komwa alak en meng'ikab county nebo Kericho kole kakwautiet nekoib serikalitab emoni koibu walet noton en kabatisiet en emet. Kamwa Moses Kirui ak nebo ng'echeret en bunge la mwananchi en county noton nebo Kericho Richard Mutai kole noton kowendi kokimite boisionikab temik kole kikayamis President Dr. William Ruto koib walet en emet en kabatisiet.
En ng'al chamo mbolea kochob akine ngap komoche keminse akonam kasarta nemie akere kini kimwa president akoyaak maba lembeita ng'alekyik. Among'u ale atlonyoru komuch koyai kii agetugul nemuche en temisiet en ng'alekab mbolea. Mobo maana en ng'alekab mbolea.
Kichuchuch mbolea kong'eten 2,500 akoi 2,000. Kemoche kemwoni president kokelen kongoi president en kasit neyoe ako kimiten ko kitemikab Kericho biikab South Rift tugul kemiten yoton. Kokenai kele tuguk chekipromise biikab Kenya ko iwendi isuldoi.
Nimesema ile mbegu ya kuzalisha mahindi kwa sababu ndio chakula ya muhimu Kenya. Mbegu kwa mwaka huu na mwaka ujao tutapunguza by 50%. Bei yake ishuke chini. Ndio nyinyi kama wakulima mtusaidie kuzalisha chakula, tuondoe aibu ya njaa katika taifa letu la Kenya.
Kosubkei ak meng'ichoton ko chornetab keswek koibu walet ak konyor temik en nyumnyumindo.
Kikere kora en ng'alekab mbegu kokobwa kora beit ng'weny. Kemoche kesom temik ab biikab Kenya tugul en yeboch ongebe mbar ak ongetemisien ndamun kikere kele serikalinyon kokonamech eun en komasta age.
Kamwa Dr. Joseph Rotich ak Paul Lang'at kole kikobor maket serikalitab emoni nebo kokanapta sekta nebo kabatisiet ak keiston kererunetab amitwogik kobun chorunetab tugukab mbar.
Ibwoti ile noni ko tesetab tai. Kikasarta nekitai ko kibos His Excellency President beit nekibo fertilizers anan phosphate kong'eten 7,000 akoi 1,500. En ngunon en kosibetab noniton ko kokobos kora kong'eten 1,500 akoi 2,000. Ko kini koteshi bwana Shele kini kimokomi yukinya ko koteshi ng'alekab mbegu yani keswek. En keswek ngunon beit nekikialen en kenyini konye ko kiloit anan ko ne kobosot beit en nguni. En kamang'unet nekitinye bwana Shele kingen ina kele bendi temik kowektogei mbar.
Amache kityo kit nosome kot missing ko kepchi korikyi temik tipots ama tipots ke extenden mpaka olimbo resop asikobit konyorchinen kelyin temik ng'alekab mbolea yekakonekitit ng'alekab transport. Anibuch kongoi en excellency nekobwat ng'alekab temik en ng'alekab mbolea amun en nguni ko kabit nguni amitwogik mororu amitwogik tor makeimpoteni amitwogik kong'eten komostab sang.
Kamwa icheket kole alyetab tugukab mbar chekikowech kakiletabgei nebo temik en kasarta nekoi.
Amun kini kikouit en kasarta nekoi ko kikouit ako kikoik kali ng'alekab tuguk chekikuren en Kiingereza farm inputs. Yani kakile tuguk chekiboisien en mbar. Ikere ngunon kou mbolea ko biik chechang ko kikobakach kokolso en mbarenikwak amun kikakoik kali phosphate ak tuguchon alak chon kitesyin. So kit nekimong'u en nguni en going forward bwana Shele kimong'u kit nekikuren bumper harvest.
Kamach meng'ichoton Ministry nebo kabatisiet kobun chagoshekab National Cereals and Produce Board NCPP koker kole kabit katoldoleiwek en nyumnyumindo.
So kit nekikere ngunon kemoche koik available, yani kimoche koik tuguk chebitunotin en kasarta nemoche temik. Kasarta neuni bwana Shele kikekere kasarta nekoi ko kasarta nekoi ile kokiib phosphate kwale biik tuten chetinye rabisiek ak kokesten stoishek. Kimoche kemwoin His Excellency President kele keavailen tuguchuton tugul angot ko keswek angot ko phosphate kobwa en nyong'indo sikonyor temik ak konyor en kiwango nekotokyingei.
Aripoten logoiwekab emet chebo Kass kong'eten county nebo Kericho, kainenyun ko Robert Siele.
Kakolumda CS nebo kibagengeisiek Wycliffe Oparanya committee tononjin tetetab kabartaetab tuguk noton naat ko MSME trade fair netun kiyai kong'ete tarikit 30 en arawetab 10 en taonit nebo Kigali en emet nebo Rwanda.
Kamwa CS kole wendi kotoreti serikali chemung'arainik chotok eng rabisiek million 200 asikomuch koba akomarta tuguk chekichobe eng emoni cheboto tuguk kobun sekta nebo muiwek.
The government is committed to making sure that those 500 or so exhibitors are actually supported. And I think the government has committed about 200 million Kenya shillings for that purpose. Why MSME? Because in MSME, we have over 21 million people involved in MSME. We have over 7 million small businesses.
Eng komastanyi komwa PS nebo MSME Susan Mangeni kole chemung'arainik chotok keleweni kobun counties tugul 47 koboto chemung'arainik chekikobor eng besenwogikab Hustler Fund.
With the support of Waziri, we'll also be reaching out to other partners who have been standing with us and see if we can even expand the number from 500 even to 1,000. We'll be very grateful if this number can go up. Part of the participants will be Nyota beneficiaries, and I want to say maybe 100 of them should be Nyota. Out of the 500 so far earmarked, at least 100 of them will be Nyota beneficiaries. We'll expect many more MSMEs again coming from Kenya to go and showcase and exchange ideas, and also in turn gain trade connections which are very helpful in expanding and scaling up their businesses.
Membaekab committee noto kobunu ministries cheterter ak kibagengeisiek alak chebo serikali asikotoret eng tetutik tugul ak kasuldaet nebo kamartaetab tuguk kobun emoni eng emetab Rwanda.
So this team will be very critical. That's why you see we have even Kenya Bureau of Statistics, because to certify goods that you are going to exhibit there, you don't just take in what is usually a serious exhibition. We'll have the immigration and the foreign affairs helping us with border control and movement, internal security, ensuring that there is that coordination of security and securing the movement of our goods, as well as our exhibitors will be going to Kigali.
Kimong'u konyor siret nebo tugukwak chemung'arainik chebendi emonoto kot koityi biik chechang akobarait mung'arosiekwak akoi emotinwekab sang.
Internationally, that's how we are now opening ourselves within East African community. We are now allowing these small businesses to go out there, and the East African community trade fair is very critical because this is where they have to go and compare and see how they can compete within this big market of over 300 million people.
Aripotenchini Kass logoiwekab emet eng county nebo Nairobi, kainenyu ko Samson Kurgat.
Kakomong'e alage en stakeholders chebo somanet en county nebo Uasin Gishu akokoito kuruset koityi serikalitab emoni koker kole kaimuch kokochi tiyet katuiyoitab kei noton nebo sigik en emoni anan presentation en kotorchinet nebo keker kole kaimuch kekanapta toget noton nebo somanet en emet.
Kong'ololjin sirikab logoiwek kasarta nekanam tuyet koboto kibagengeisiek chemobo serikali en kanasetab Eldoret, komwa nebo ng'echeret en katuiyetabgei nebo sigik en county nebo Uasin Gishu anan Uasin Gishu Parents Association Dr. Rebecca Omolo kole kakoit kasarta nenyolu konyor katuiyetabgei nebo sigik toretet kobun serikali, mising ko toretet nebo rabinik en katorchinet nebo keker kele kakisuldae tetutikab somanet en emet ama en kaimutiet age tugul.
We also request that the government, now that the Parent Association is in the Act of the Basic Education Act, that the Parent Association body be funded or be recognized in a better way. You see, the moment the Parent Association body is funded by the government, we are able to implement all the policies in the schools and support what is running in our schools.
En komostanyi kokoito Collins Kemboi agenge en sigik en county nebo Uasin Gishu kurset koityi serikalitab emoni mising ko kobun ministry netonondochin somanet koker kole kakisuldae tetutiet nebo school feeding program en sukulishekab emoni asimabun kaimutik lagok chebunu korik chemaimuchigei kasarta netesetai ak somanet.
Calling upon the government to support in terms of food programming and even to support even in terms of the personal effects for those who are vulnerable children, especially from the vulnerable family like orphans and even the neglected children in the society. We have the Minister of Interior who can work concurrently with the education to ensure that they map the entirely in totality those kind of the vulnerable children like person with disability and even those who have different forms of disability like autism and many other.
En kasarata komwa Joseph Waikongo kobun Elimu Yetu Coalition kole nyalu konyumnyum serikalitab emoni letaitab rabinik chenotin ko capitation fees koityi sukulishek tugul mising en kasarta netetat kesuldae tiemutikab boror en arawek aeng chemiten tai.
Within the recommendation, there was actually a recommendation to the effect, let us increase capitation. That so far has not been done in terms of increasing the levels of capitation. But even before pursuing that particular path, the critical and most important component would be the current levels of capitation should be given in schools in the correct quantity and at the correct moment.
Kong'eten kanaset nebo Eldoret en county nebo Uasin Gishu, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass TV, kaninyu ko Timothy Kiplimo.
Tesetai kibagengeit neborien boisietab kerichek chebo bokitet nebo Nakada korutechin sub-counties tugul chebo county nebo Nandi en konetisiet nebo ketechi biikab emet koistoegei boisietab kerichekab bokitet missing ko mayek.
Kosubkei ak Benjamin Kuto ne naat ko Paroparo, kochang neranik kikonyor kaimutik kotinygei ak boisietab kerichekab bokitotet missing ko en county nebo Nandi.
Mkurugenzi na director nebo Nakada kakibwa rani ko wagat nekanye kewokyi ak kesom kele ongesoru lagokyok amu kakobar ng'alekab mayek ak bangi koboto drugs cheyachen cheu heroin ak tuguk chechang chebunu sang. Ansa yuto bo nenyonet county nebo Nandi komi mayek ak bangi chebunu komasta nimbo Kisumu, bunu alake Kakamega ak bunu alake komaswek cheterchin. So kokisom kabingeretab kei kele ongesiku ak kemete amu kakobar nei lagok. Makotunishe lagok, makituni lagok, makosomani lagok, makwae kiy age tugul. Kinyoru biik komi kityo kobendoting center.
Kakon ine kateunet koityi biik tugul koistoegei mung'aranoto eng mwaet kole testai operation Kim netakyingei kekes boisionoto bo kerichekab bokitotet.
So kanye kayai kasit tugul ak biikab bodaboda koboto police ak all the other departments kou kitindoi KEPHIS, kitindoi anti-counterfeit, kitindoi KRA ak kyun tugul chun. Ko chi age tugul nekakinam eng karing'ung malikuk tugul koibe serikali amu inye niboisie malikuk eng oret nesamis ibore lagokyok. So kokisom kele Nandi ain kokenam nguno kokinam Prado neko white nebo chito nebo chemung'arindet nemi Kapsabet, kokenam kora RAV4 ak kokenam kora BMW nekoibe bangi, koibe mayek ak koibe heroin ak koibe ethanol.
Kosubkei ak Daniel Mutuko ne ine ko Assistant Deputy County Commissioner nebo Kiliponi Division eng Kemkwen, kokakon ine kateunet kole mawekse let serikali eng borionoto missing ko eng county nebo Nandi.
We have impounded proboxes, even Prados, transporting these illicit brews. Any person who allows their vehicle to be used to transport these illicit brews, you'll be surrendering that vehicle to the government. Because once we arrest that vehicle transporting illicit brews, you will not be able to get it back. So we want even business people to support this war so that we can keep our account clean, we can keep our people safe to achieve the great success that we want and that exactly the president wants his people to achieve.
Eng komastanyi kosom nebo ng'echeret eng kibagengeitab ketikab bodaboda eng county nebo Nandi John Tirop. Ketikab bodaboda amat koyan keboisie ichek kolamaiye koboto kerichechoto bo bokitotet.
So kimeche kesom kityo kwa chairman of bodaboda ameche asom kijanaek chok chebo bodaboda kaikai ongemete keiboti mayechu yachen amu ng'eme lagok chok ako ng'eme generation ng'eme kijanaek chok simutai makomi generation rubei noton akakibwa betutab rani sikituyegei akemwa kele kwa pamoja sisi kama bodaboda ak serikalit kemi kibagenge kiro kele kakirinda mayechu yachen ak tomotoinik che yachen chemanyolchin biik chok kakongamionso biik chok kakobet generation nito nebo ngunoni aswa ko biikab bodaboda cho ameche asom ak kijanaek chok chemi gaa chemi school kijanaek chemengechen kaikai ongeistoegei mayechu amu ng'emin yep kobore kong'em generation ng'ung'et yep kobore kong'em kapsikisio ng'ung'et simutai komakiyobi generation so kimeche kesomgei chitugul neimi kurgat ole imi kikose tukono ongesomgei ongeamechi kotong kelong koroi kikong'em biik chok ongemwochi chemung'araek chok choe mung'arosiechu kora kelech kaikai motobar lagok chok amu beku chechoket tun korup tukuket kora so ngetoretkei pamoja asikobit kiangamisan koroi kakotaranai lagok chok.
Kong'etegei county nebo Nandi logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Nelson Tarubei.
Kakonerekyi membaekab chamait nebo Liberty National Alliance naat en nwogindokwa nebo Linda Party kole bendi kapkirwok asikorwokyi kandoikab Linda Mwananchi mwaet kole moche ichek koraben kainenywan nekisib kosir kibagengeit noton nebo chamaisiek en emetab Kenya. Kong'olchi sirikab logoiwek en ofisiekwa komwa chamait noton kole kisib kondo icheket en siretab kainetab chamainywan kunoton komanyolu keraben kainanoton.
Why the fight is here is because this group wants to close entirely the use of the word Linda. The word Linda. They are not saying it is Linda in English, in Luo, in Kikuyu, in Swahili. They are closing the use of the word Linda, which we already reserved. Among the things they are requesting for is that the name Linda should not be used by any other person in the Republic of Kenya to register a political party. So it greatly affects the interest of our clients, which already reserved that name in 2024. I've said that we've submitted all the documents required by the register of political parties, and for you to have gotten to this stage, it means that you have registered offices in at least 24 counties in the Republic of Kenya, which is something that has been achieved, and that is why the only thing that is awaiting is the issuance of the registration certificate. Any political party, just as the famous Dr. Oburu Odinga says, is to get power. So the plan for the party is to take power in the country. So the party will be fielding aspirants for all the possible positions where any person will present an interest.
We are open to work with anyone of similar minds of protecting and defending this country and prospering this country for a better one and bringing in an alternative leadership to this country. We are open and we are welcoming everyone on board who is of similar minds. We are aligned to defending this country, defending the constitution of this country.
Upon the death of the former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, his party had two groupings. We had a Linda Mwananchi and a Linda Ground group. And consequently, after our clients wrote a letter to the Register of Political Parties, who now initiated the process of aligning the respect, the Linda Ground group went quiet because they knew that whatever they were doing was against the Political Parties Act. So we remained with Linda Mwananchi. And this same Linda Mwananchi is the same one which has filed in court, which has filed before the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal.
Chitab Kalenjin kochoton koloyab emet kaimuch kaitunen ketesien ichamen nebo Kass TV nekasomanun kwane Shadrack Mutai.
Kimitei akobo inye ako kimita sikinetkei kibaibaitkei ak kinosechigei tuguk cheterter chetesetai eng emetab Kenya ak emotinwek chebo sang. Inyorwech eng DSTV channel 266, Zuku channel 19, GoTV channel 099, Star Times channel 164, Pang eng free to air, Bamba free to air, Azam channel 336 koboto online streaming eng www.kasstv.co.ke.
Kotitinye ng'oliot age tugul kotinygei ak tetutik chok, sirwech sirutiet en oretab email konyo info@kassfm.co.ke anan ko SMS en number 5552 anan ko 30552 ak imwawech kit neichome ak nemechome.
Kass TV, kimnotet nae.
This August on Sins and Roses.
Hello, Dad?
Ayal, my dear. Are you okay? Why aren't you calling from your phone?
Mom literally threw our phones out of the car window. She's acting really strange. It's like she's not herself anymore. Tell me, Dad. What's going on here? Is she acting like this again because of her accident?
Hello?
I want to speak with Tibet Kyoksal.
Mr. Tibet's not in a position to take your call.
But this is very important. My daughters and I need to leave this country immediately. Listen to me. I know him personally, okay? Just tell him it's Barak.
You know, I have always thought that you were the most perfect mother.
Don't miss Sins and Roses this August only on Novellas Plus.
Habari ndio hii. Star Times tumejiamulia kukupa raha bila limit. This August, renew your monthly subscription and give your little ones a holiday packed with cartoons, imagination, adventure, and so much fun. I am of you. Discover Imagination Playground on Baby TV. Join Adventure Carly and Princess Doremi on ST Kids. Catch Fireman Sam and Thomas and Friends on Jim Jam. And step into the action with Avatar, The Last Airbender on ST Tunes. There's even more fun with Scooby-Doo and Interstellar Ella on Boeing. And Lego City, Powerpuff Girls, and Totally Spies on Cartoon Network, and so much more. Dial *858# to recharge your subscription for just 329 shillings per month on Nyota and 549 shillings on Nova Bouquet. Download the Star Times On app and keep the entertainment going wherever you are. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Ko oretab konyorunen kelchinoik logoek chemiten en kabatisiet kotesetai temindet Moses Limo kobun kokwetab Esiabe en lokeshonitab Kaptebeng'wet en Boito en Konoin en county nebo Bomet ak boisionik cheterter chebo kabatisiet cheboto kolsetab kirindilek, temetab chaik ak baetab tugab chego. Taban nebo boisionik choton ko kikokimit kabitet ak kolsetab ketikab avocado chebo kasari chenootin kou as avocado kong'eten tutanet ak kang'oletab ng'ung'unyek ak katoldoleiwek.
Boisiet nekiyoe en reutet yu ko nebo nasari nebo avocadoisiek chebo grafted avocado chekibore has. Ko boisienyon neo nemi compound ini konoton ine. Boisiet netesetai en reu ngunon ko nebo biik cheule mutura en reutet yu ngunon. Reu ko ele king'olen muturaisiek anan ng'ung'unyek. So ko king'ole ng'ung'unyek ak mboleaisiek ak mchangek. So tuguk chemokotin en reu kemoche komiten ng'ung'unyek. Ko ng'ung'unyek ko kindoo wilbarisiek somok. King'ol ak mchangek, yani ng'ung'unyek choton ng'ung'unyek ak wilbarisiek somok. Mboleaisiek en reu ko kindoo wilbarit agenge. Asi en komosi reutet ko wilbarit ni ko nebo mchangek. Mchangek inei chuton chon kiteksen ko king'oldoi kora en reutet yu ak kinde mutura en tugul. In the ratio of 3:1:1. Avocado ko ketit ne sensitive en ng'alekab aeration. Ko nginde mchangek ko kor kosiche kobus tikitik komie. Ko notet kit netoreti mchangek. Sikai komiten mchangek chu. So yon any kakinam kora kemin ko miten DAP cheking'oldoi kora. King'oldoi kora DAP asikobit koron kakonam korut tenderiat korutu en ele toldol ako baibai. Ko farmini koron ko certified. Kindoi certificate nebo AFA ak kindoi certificate nebo KEPHIS. So komi ng'atutik che lazima kisib en ribetab ng'ung'unyek ak ribetab alak tugul. Okot ngunon ng'ung'unyek ketuche ngunon sikobit kolyan inye kobek mionwek. Kichobe ng'ung'unyek ak ketuch sikobit komoityi mionwek alak tugul. Ko kit neu mbolea kora.
Kamwalimo kole yeibata kang'oletab katoldoleiwek kotokyingei boisiet nebo kamanut nebo chikilet ak waetab keswekab avocado chebo atkai tugul kobun temik en komoswek cheterter.
Kasit nekiyoe en komositet yu ko nebo ng'alekab keswek. Kelewen keswek kotor iker ile keswot nekeib koba nasari ak kemin ko nenoton ngamun ngot ko memuch ilewen keswek iibe mionwek koba nasari. Ko lazima kiisto ng'alekab mionwek chotet en lewenetab keswek alak tugul chekebemin en nasari. So ko en komositet ngunon ko mi biik chekinet che kasinywan nebo koit keswek ko kasinywan ko rejecten keswek matuche. Yani matin kokiibu keswek aina gani ko kasinywan nyokolewen ko chekakoyan kocho komokiibe koba nasari. Keswek chu chechang acheng'oti en temik ko keswek ko che kerichek ibare tenderek chombo kipkaa. Kicheng'e tenderek chebo kipkaa chombo avocado. Ko kor kiole ngunon en temik ak nyokenam keboisien en reutet yu. Ile kikobubun. Ikere ile kilal mara tindo challenges cheterterchin. Miten alak che mara kekwam serik. Ikere chekakwam serik cheu chechon komokororon. Miten kora kileweni kora kobun sizes. Size chemengechen. Mi sizes chemengechen chemokimoche. Ngobo komengekitun kora komokimoche chemengechen cheu chutet yu. Amun kor kemoche kimoche tenderiat neo. Tenderek cheechen ko chekonu tuguk chekororon. Ko ngomengekitun anan koyakitun kounon komokimoche kabisa. So lazima kelewen tenderek en reutet yu. Kele koekitun mugulen ako kororon. Ko koron en oret age tugul ngamun yani matindo dalili age tugul nebo miondo en reutet yu. So kakinamen keswot nekararan nebaibai en reutet yu. Kurun kwa nasari ngunon ko kororon en komositet. Ko ngoba kemine ngunon ko mekere nekokonam koter neunon. Ko kakonam konyo direct. Ikere ile baibai kabisa amun kakonyo ko kater komie. Mi chenan koesio koter. Ko ngoesio koter komokororon. Ngamun mayatak metit komie. Komobo korutu akichek en nasari. Kobwane kobo koibe kasarta nekoi.
Kosubkei ak temindonoton ketokyin kerichek cheribe logoek chemoche ketokyi mbar kibit asikeistoengei mionwogik.
Cham keibu kenyokerutyi kirongyin reutet yu asikobit konurio en reutet yu ak kemwet kotilekitun. Ko kor chekakokoronekitun ngunon kicheru en chekakeibu en reutet yu keibu ak kenyokinde komositet ni kenyokinde reutet yu. Eweka dawa. Kuna shida. Weka tu ionekane dawa. Oya. Sawa. Sasa hiyo. Hii sasa ni dawa Stengep. Sasa ni dawa. Ichechu ko ridomil. Kerichondoni nguno ko ridomil. Ridomil ko fungicide age tugul ne. Inoni asikobit komuch kosto mionwek alak tugul chekamuch kotakomiten tenderechutet chu. Kor ko ichechu konyoe ako yani ngot ko kamyoni kotor konyoe akomuchi korib kora asikobit komanam mionwek. So kerichechutet ko asikobit komuch korib asikobit komaityi mionwek. Ngamun kakib ko nasari ele muchi koba konyor mionwek alak chechang. So ko kakinem any en eutet yu ko kakochulachul kou niten ngunon. Kenam any ichechu ngunon any akany keib koba nasari chekakinde kerichek tugul ngunon en eutet yu keib koba nasari sikibakebit kibakemin. Kenam any ichechu ngunon akeib any kibakemin en nasari ngunon ko kakoik safe en mionwek alak tugul tuguchutet chu. En ichechu ngunon ngamun logoechu kit nemoche kityo kor yon kakibut tenderek akeboisien konyolu kor kobek. Makaron keketyinigei en ichechutet chu ngap indoi akinemu udibit ngunon. Lakini kor yon kakoimen kele chekang'et chekimine karon ketou kerichek alak makiketyingei chekokakeboisien en reutet.
Kamwa temindenoton kole yekeitita kabetit komagat kemin komie ak kecheng chetindoi kamugetab korut ak kebit en oret nenyolu ak ketoi ketuch.
Ko ng'alekab minet kan kakeibuche nekakende kerichek en reutet ngunon kenyo kemin en reutet yu ko ole kimindoi kemine koker barak kole ikere ngunon kekere nekakoter kounon ikere nekakoter neunon ngunon ko notet ko kakonyolchi kemin kemoche keker kele kaker barak ireu ikere en avocado ikere ele kiburto yu chumchum kemoe koker barak ngamun yutet ele sip korutu so nimumech ilenji kotun kowendi asikwaruny ketit koik opposite so kimoche koker barak reutet yu so kindoi ngunon kole akemin ngunon kele inote koker barak yu lazima iker ile kaker barak kotabanu ng'weny yu kotabanu barak reutet keminat kou notet. Yutet kora ketesetai kekere ak kechikili keker kele makimin kit nemonoton ngamun imoe iker ile kit nemine ko nenotet simakitikin imin kit nebo konyokoimin ak kokon tabusiek chechang en nasari en karon en keswek yon kaimin so konitet ele so kor ko kitandani ngunon tugul ko nekokitoroti keminoti asiketuch. Yeibata notet ngunon ketuche asikobit kokonorchi beek ak koker kole manyor kaimet age tugul. So asikobit keker kele kakituche en barak reutet yu asikor ko mang'ete mionwek endelea kuweka kor ko mang'ete beek koyendos makimoe koyam reutet yu kimoe kotwonit en kasarta age tugul ak keker kele miten en oret nekararan nemamiten shida age tugul. Kit nekikenai kora en nasari nebo avocado kemoche kokabur kokaslanten kokaru kole makimoe nasari ngunon nekatobot makimoe nasari koto iker nasarisiek tugul iker ile karuyo nasarisiek kole sikor komuchi koser beek yani kimoe ngoba beek en reu kor koba kobendi bechotet en komosino makimoe nasari nekitobot. Nasari chechang kemoe chekitobot koik kitandek lakini noni nasari chekiboisien en reu ko chekiruyo sikoser beek ngamun kikokilenjo avocado komomoche water logging age tugul. Anything netupcho ak yon beek ile katonoso en orit komakararan kemoe keker kele karuyo kitandok komie en yotet any. Yeibata notet any yon kakechop kou noni kenyo kenyit ng'ung'unyek ngunon keibu ng'ung'unyek chuganitet chu kakiboisien en meto yuno kenyo kenyiten kenyo keker kele kakinyit ngunon ng'ung'unyat komie koyamgen makimoche kong'et komayam ng'ung'unyek. So ng'ung'unyek chu kakinde mbolea chu kaking'ol ak manure, kakingol manure, muchangek ak ng'ung'unyek chuton chu ko chu boisien kinyiten en reuto. Ma ng'ung'unyek cheter, so kor ikere ile tindoo mbolea en orit. Ngobur kounoni ngunon ak kinyit kounoni ngunon kotore nekit arawek 2.5
kosubkei ak temindonoton kokaibata arawek 2.5 kong'atyo akotestai ripset.
En kitandani ngunon ikere ile kakonam komong agenge. Ikere ngunon agenge chekakomong cheu chonitet chon. Ko chechu ngunon ko kotar arawet agenge. Ne kakoye. Inoe ile komong koilewen keswek chekororon. Ele sibinoen ile koisi keswek chekororon ko yutet ngunon kakonam kurut. So ngot kobur kokagende komarutu inai ile tabu keswek chono. Nyolu sibistoenge. Kesib kistoege en rutet yon ngunon. Yani yon nekakake kuruten rutet komakibe kwa the next stage. Kelulugu kabisa ak kelakte ak ketou age. Makibe kwa taa ngamun inip kwa taa ko keibu shida. Ako makimine makeboisien ng'ung'unyek chotet. Kiba ketou ng'ung'unyek alak chelelach kora. Ngamun makiyoe kasit nekiyoe ni ko makibootishoni. Kimache keker kele kit nekakimin ko kit nekararan ne karon ikochini temindet inoe ile kekoi kit nenoton. So makibootishoni ngunon. Ngunon nan kenerech kele kibore kitandet neuni tugul kebore makiriren. Ngamun kimache kinemu tuguk chekororonen rutet.
Kamwa Limo kole kaibata kora arawek 2.5 kotok chemiten komie.
Ireu ngunon kokotar arawek 2.5. Ikele komong keswek chekororon. Yani take off ko kanam komie en reutet yu. Ndakimakilewen keswek chekororon en reutet yu koto marutu kounoni. Inomi ikere shidaishek. Lakini yon kenam ikere ngunon kokabwa kounoni. Ikere nekit amuchi ale 90%. Ma 100% lakini en ane ko 90%. Lakini amache iker ngunon kakobakaige kounoni. Ikere kakobakage noni. Ikere noni kotomo kurut. Ikere noni kotomo kurut. So ko chutet ngunon ko kakinyokemeto chon ngunon. Monokto amabendi ui chon. Chekinyokeibe ngunon chebendi grafting ko chuchu. Chu kakomong ngamun koborgei ichegen kole kokimuch ako matindoi shida alak tugul. Ko chekabirto met kokage komakimoche kenome cheu chondet ngunon ak kelakte mabendi makisiptoi koba olda age. Ikere kou chun ngunon keloktoi cheu chumiton ko kakinam ngunon kiste ngunon kelewen kele monokto amabendi ui. Okot cheu chono kora ko kirejects chekibakach alak ko nan kenerech ak kelukte tugul kobetyo. Makimoche koimech en hasara reutet yu. Kimoche tuguk chemi reu tugul ko chingen kele oldookse ako bendi ako kororon. Mawechawech yani komong keswek chekororon chekoron kikoi chito koba kobaibait akine ngomine noton. No, tiengei sizes chebo beds en reu. Ngamun mi chekoen komi chenwoken. Mi chebo 1,000, mi chebo 500, mi chebo 100. Amun mbarani nyon ko kibendi ketesoti ko kiten. Kinasari agenge nekibo 2000. Lakini kingo kocheran chi anyo kole nyo kale ameche kochang'a kosir kit nekibokyolotin elelo. Anyon akanam ayai kasit nitet. So nguno malen ale kikibongoni beds en reutet. Sizes ko terter ngamun tiengei space nekakinyoru en sait noton. Ak keswek chekakinyoru en sait notet chekimine. Kechobe cheten choton kiti. Ngamun tuguchu komakisuri mutura asikokage. Ngesuri nguno muturek asikobit kokage ko makemine nguno. Ikere ot kou non ko kikage no. Ko nguno makimine no chokelulugu tugul. Kikabetyo keswek en non. Ko non ngunon ko noet amune matinye ot kalyan ko makitokyinigei kenyo kemin ngunon. Kinome tesetai kebendi olda age makibendi non ngamun kichelewan en keswek ak korobonchi komakororon komakemoche ng'ung'unyek cheu choton ngamun imuch kochut mionwek kikokonyak so manyokorutu kobaibai ketit en ng'ung'unyek chekikokage. Moe ng'ung'unyek che fresh.
En kasarta nekimoche ketokyi grafting kekwoe keswek anan logoek chokobwa komie asikomong walutik chekororon.
Kimoe ketit nekanyo ngunon kobaibait kou nitet inoni. Ikere kanyo kotoldolit, kanyo kokoit ako nerat ireu komie. So kekere size. Diameter nebo stem niten ko kararan kabisa ngap niten ko kotok kele karon kanyo kigraften inoni imi komie yani nome masakitat nan konyago konyo kasakite komotokimache nunu ngunon ikere ile nyone kosakite ikere kou non ikere ile kanyone kosakit ko ngonyo kosakit kou non ko makoron ko kararan en ele kikraftendoi moe koimech kikibite tuan ngunon lakini amache iker kanyonone kosakit konyonone kokaranit so kokor ko kenyo keleweni cheu chuchutet ngunon ko chesip kobendi kabisa ko koron konyo konitet nesip konyo kwendi so keleweni ngunon kemoe keker kele nekaner ko nan keibu akine science komi science netenden konyo kechengyini kochut cheu chutet chu ko ngenyor nekaner kobendi ak inoni kor ko kararan ngamun science tabakekere science en reuni kobwone ak sizes cheterter ak ichek kora ngap kiole omi ketik barak cheterterchin kokor ko science komi sizes cheterterchin kora so ngeleweni kityo lakini ngunon kotam kechome ngenyor nenerano ngunon kosip konome komie ak kosip kwendi ko noni ko mara kotar another 2 months en nursery komie sikobit konam komie kora yani netoldol ko nekararan kong'eten en ngamun kabaibait tikityot ikere sele kasip korundoi ile koet ko noni akine kokonyo uwon koimonugei kora so kararan ketit nenerat.
Kamwa temindonoton kole kokaibata ketokyi crafting ole mang'at ng'omnotet asikeyai boisionoton bo kamanut asikomong keswekab kasari chekikeyochi walet.
En reu kokailewen ngunon en reu ko lazima nyo iker ile kakikraften ketit nekakoyam iker ile tile ngunon ko ketil komoe kit nenerat neyome ketil kobesio konyil oeng ikere katil ngunon kobesio konyil oeng en reyondet asikobit kebakelewen akine ngunon sayon neyome ak ireutet yu so kor kebwone ngweny yon ngunon asikobit kelewen size neyomegei size ikere ngunon ile kerchindos asikobit koker size neyomegei konam kotil ngunon konam kotil kocheng kole koechin ele kenyolu ketilda kabisa ko lewen science chu ngunon kelewenwech kiibu ngunon en biik certified farms sawa so ko ngerobe ngunon korob kounon komoche keker kele katuiyo makatet nebo noni nebo barak noni ak nimbo ngweny nino ak any kinam keta momi kerichek alak ketesyin en rutet yu lakini kartasini ko makartasit agetugul kibore crafting tape chulokse crafting tape ngunon ko ngechule kelenjin kokiche koron ngunon ngonere ketit kotesetai koadjustinokse akine ngunon ingere chulokse sebe no makartasit agetugul nekeboisien ketar ngunon ako kich kakiki kounondet ngunon kobur kounon tar ngotar arawet agenge ko kakityach ngunon kachobok no kakobata en reu ngunon keibe any ngunon kwo kitandet mi tuguk ibakebongoni ak kekerchi metit mi keroisit nebo kindoi ngunon ongeibai
kokaibata ketokyi kibit akotoi kotestai ripset
kenyo kilokyi ngunon keroisisiechu ngunon kiibu abe karatasit ngine yeit ngunon ikere ile nyokilokyin ngunon keroisit neu non oh yeah kumewanda vizuri so kilokyi ngunon kounon ko ngilokyi kounon ngunon akepangan ikere ko yon inoe ile sobe ikere konome kolupchoni sebe kounon ngonam kolupcha sebe kounon tet ngunon ikere ile sobe kyon ngunon akenam kityo kemonitaren en rutet yu keker kele morut ake nemonoto ngamun moche kenai ile nekatobonu ngweny inoni ko indigenous inoni ko has nekokiibu ngunon kemoe keker kele kang'et en morut inoni so ko kasit nemi nursery kong'eten nguni en rutet yu ko kerib ak keker kele morut nimbo ngweny en rutet yu en ngunon ko kakotok ele sobet nemiten nursery en rutet yu ngunon iker lupchoni sebeisiek inoe ile sobtos alak en sebeisiek chu kokirecyclen ngap mokimetoi sebe nekakiboisien kotun kora keboisien nebo tu ko kit nekiriben nursery ni ko komat korut nebo ngweny inoni so kimi ngunon sikinyo kebore netobonu ngweny kounon ikere kounon ikere ile kong'at ireu ak kong'at ireu so kemoche keker kele kakibar kakibar inoni makichamchini ngunon inoni kurut nonitet nikibar akebar kora inoni asikobit kechomchi kurut nebo barak nekikikraften en rutet kunotet kit nebo maana kuno so lazima keker kele nasari nemi monetary nemiten ru ko komakichamchi agetugul kurut nan kosab kou non kosab en ngweny kou notet kebore inoni makichamchini kurut inoni sikobit kolyan kosob inoni inegen kor kinoe ile keib konerutu ko as kityo.
Kokaibata arawek aeng'u kokeyochi grafting kokakobit walet ak konyor kimnatet nebo kosob.
Baada ya mwezi mbili sasa kokakobata arawek aeng'u kiyogon ak kebore neu inoni. Ikere ngunon ile kibore neu inoni. Makichamchin kurut inoni. Kokakokich akine inoni ak komong kii komie en rutet. So kakoit keti has ngunon any. Ngamun kakoik has kinam ngunon any kityach. Kityochi inoni ngunon konam any koik ketit agetugul inei. Ko en reu ngunon kinam any ngunon kityach. Ko ele kityoktot inoni ko kewat kityo kelenji kityo kwendi round kityo kinege ngamun malasima itil tugul kotenderu kenege ngamun kikitoe kii kikakita kiitet inoni tetet kikakuchen yon so kinam kityach kotenderu kenege kiitet so mekere kosob kokosob ngunon noni katuiyo noni ak kakoik ketit aenge noni tugul nikita noni ko konyo keropchin noni lakini kere kakoik ketit aenge so kebakach any ngunon kityo keyochi kit nekibore hardening en reu kotakobur nekit arawet aenge en nasari lakini ndabo kemine noni kokochop makilen kele takomiten kit ne yani noni kityo ko kakikochi kityo time nebo kosob ine noni amun takotoku berutiet mamiten kabisa so kasarta kitikin kochu tugul ichechu ngunon ko kaam koba mbar kamong chu tugul konyolchi koba mbar ko chema qualify ngunon kong'etu akichek en ngunon ngebendi ngunon komi chekong'et chemara korut mutyo ko making'ololen chon ngunon bendi ng'etu choton mabendi ta akichek so kisipta any en ngunon koba kitandet neo nebo ripset nebo keriben en ak keyochin kit nebo hardening.
Kosubkei ak temindonoton komakat beek en kasarta nebo let kokeni ketokyi mbar en minset.
Reu komomi kit netokelen kele kiyoe kit nebo maana soiti. Kaki-exposen kityo kobwa asista en rutet yu ak beek kakiriben asista ak beek en rutet yu. Occasional ne konan kinde kora foliar ko foliar agetugul kityo yon kikere kityo kele mara ko missing ko mara yon lole kemeut ngolal kemeut komuch konyoru shock kotam keume kesupporten en foliars kityo ko momi kasit age netakomiten rutet yu nekilenen kele korom missing en ribet neu noni koet kityo kii keyochi hardening kotor koit stage ne ngobo kokung'ote ngunon ngobo kokung inoe kokonyolchi kwo mbar so ikere ngunon ninyon kokomosi kele kokong'yo ichechu kibo tai ngunon ichechu kokong'yo ichechu kokaam koba mbar ichechu kaam koba mbar ichechu ngunon en reu okot yono kokoyam koba mbar ikere ot ineni nekikonyorundo tenderek kokosapoten yani yome kosob kii kou yekiu en mbar kora nan koshongoni biik kole lyonote ketit neming'in nekie tenderek ngamun kakibai baet inoni ikere ineni kakibai kora inoni ikere rutu akotindoo tenderek kwak kora ngamun kiketit nekisobe mara kiakoit taptok yon kiakoit taptok en mbar kocheng'e kora nyokoit taptok en nasari rutet yu ko non kimokondoo taptok komi komie kora en so
iteni ko ready for market ndakialda ndamakelya
ichechu ngunon kochobok ichechu ngunon tandan ak inonon ak ninon akere nekitandok nekit lo chemiten rutet chechobotin koba market ichechu in fact tesetai keoldoi kakiib ot alak ngunon kaba konyo market mi chito nemi yotet ngunon oldo kokakicheru en nitet.
Kamwa temindenoton kole kaimutiet nemiten en boisionoton ko nyorunetab science chekiboisien en kanaptaet anan crafting chebo avocados choton chemakinyoru en nyumnyumindo anan kenyor chemani
my name is David Mwangi. I'm the founder of Rabbit Crew Kenya. We are located in Kiserian town. This is a rabbit farm, a very big rabbit farm, one of the greatest in the country, largest in the country. We have kept rabbits for the 6th year now. We have a population, we keep a population of about 1,000 rabbits here. We keep rabbits primarily for meat production. We also keep rabbits for manure and the urine production. Manure is useful for farming and the urine is useful for organic farming as well. And we are introducing the culture, encouraging the mainstream consideration of rabbit meat in Kenya. It's a quality white meat that everybody can take, good for all age groups of people, good in high protein, and all that good things about rabbits. I've been a fan of rabbit meat since I was young. So as a small boy keeping rabbits and all that, rabbits been largely associated with a venture for small boys. But besides that, the fun part of keeping rabbits has always been eating the rabbit meat, even as a young boy. So when I came to Nairobi, now I'm living in an urban center, I found a butchery that was selling rabbit meat. And I was so excited to buy rabbit meat from Nairobi and go prepare that meat at home. Going back home, 2 weeks later when I wanted a refill, they didn't have the meat. They told me the farmer was giving them as a shortage. So I decided, why can't I keep some for myself instead of getting frustrated when I look for the meat another time. So it started as a venture for my own food consumption. And then I realized they have several advantages that can make it an agribusiness. Even so, it is not widely practiced by many people. Yes, I'm a trained engineer. I'm telecommunications engineering. That's my professional training background. But I've always been more into business, even when I was in the university. So when I found that I can be able to create a business for myself, and education is not a waste. Even if you're educated, you can use the education that you have and the skills that you learned in school, the way of thinking, your analysis and all that to create a business. Because I've seen even people who have gone into magnificent careers. You go and retire, and most of the time people will retire into farming. Okay, so I've even trained some of my fellow lecturers here who are also looking into retirement ventures of farming, among other things, including rabbits as well. They are supportive venture in other types of farming. Like I've said, they will support you in manure, in urine and all that. So it is one of the many things people can do in part of their farming. And if you can do farming in retirement, you can also do it actively as a career. Okay. Yeah. They said that I don't have work. That is why I'm doing these small businesses of rabbits. But whether you do or whether you don't, people will always talk. Okay. So it's upon you to know what is it in it for you. Okay. So in it for me is that it's a business like any other. Okay. We have people we have also seen stories, and the media is so critical in how we approach these stories. So we see stories of a fellow doctor or a media journalist who left his career and went and started keeping chicken or selling bananas and all that. So besides framing the stories like that, it is that this can also be a business like any other. It is only that it is a business that trades in agricultural produce. So that is a difference in the whole approach. So you can just keep rabbits just as a hobby of it, but there's another way of thinking about the work as a business, that only where the commodity is agricultural produce, and in this case it is rabbits. So that is the only difference. Instead of saying that there is someone who left a white collar job or a profession and went and started doing farming, we would say that this person has been trained, yes, as a doctor or an engineer, but they have decided to use their skills and their abilities to trade in a different field altogether. Like, we should avoid the notion of people are going to agriculture as a result of lack of employment. Rather than, instead it should be that it is also another venture that people can consider as an active self-employment or a business or whatever it is. So actually you also have agronomists, that's also a career line. So I'm sure the society looks at some careers that are more prestige than others, but the way we train a lot of people today and they are still jobless. There are some of my colleagues that we studied with in school who are also in a similar lines of ventures, looking for something for yourself, so that you don't have to say, if I don't get a job actively, or a prestigious job, or a good salary, and I can make that salary by myself, why am I limited not to practice? Okay, so you can have all the skills, you can have all the knowledge, but even the more educated you are, the more educated also you will be in the new venture that you do, because there are skills that you learned in engineering or in medicine that will help you to think or to how to approach another business altogether. So it's just a matter of choice. It's a choice career. It's a choice job like any other. We have about 1,000, not 10,000, but there are so many breeds of rabbits worldwide, and most of the rabbits that we keep in Kenya have been introduced from the Western countries, and we have about 10 breeds. As you go around, you'll be able to see them, and mostly we prioritize the rabbits that are kept for meat production, because that is what we call the core product of our work. The core product, the core business of why we should keep rabbits is not to have fun with them, but rather to make an income out of it. So you prioritize the meat rabbits, and among those breeds, we have one that is called New Zealand White, California White. We have Flemish Giant, Chinchilla, Checkered Giant. We have Palomino, we have Havana, we have American Sable, we have Dutch, and many others. So we have all those being kept in Kenya actively. Any part of Kenya, you can keep them. Rabbits are very easy to look after. Okay, number one, you need very good hatches that can be what we call self-cleaning hatches. If you keep your rabbits clean, and they are collecting the droppings below, you can see there's a space here, and the droppings are there. Okay, and the urine will drip, and you collect in containers. So when you keep rabbits away from their dirt, you eliminate more than 90% of all the rabbit diseases. So that makes your work easy. Number two, you feed rabbits properly. We say you feed dry feeds. You can see there are strands of hay here. We also have rabbit pellets. You'll be able to see as you move around. And then water. And then of course we have you can give treats, small treats here and there. If you have some greens in your shamba, you can give a little bit of it. But the bulk of the diet of a rabbit is hay. Hay you can buy in an urban center. 85% or more of what a rabbit eats should be hay. There may be 10-15% should be pellets. Then water. If you have treats, you can give. If you don't have, then you can try to survive with high quality pellets that you can get. So with that ease of operations, then you can do this venture in an urban center like we are doing it here. We buy all the feeds. We don't grow any of the feeds of the rabbits. Okay. So that makes it the production to be very easy, very good, easy structures in tires, and anyone can do this anywhere in the country. Okay. You would consider the kind of structures that you want to keep. Of course, people have different approaches to how they want to house rabbits. There are people who try to house them in what we call colonies. Like the people do chicken kienyeji in a very big house and you put them down. But that one is a bit hectic in terms of maintaining diseases and in terms of preventing inbreeding, because if you keep males, females together, rabbits are called induced ovulators. That means if a male and a female get into contact, a female does not need to be showing any signs of ovulation, it will just become pregnant. So you'll have a lot of work to keep males and females apart. Sometimes they fight and all that. The other approach is now to use the hatches that you are seeing all over here. So that if you have this hatch with a particular number, you will know that that hatch keeps a certain rabbit whose father is that one, whose mother is that one, so that you do something we call breeding selection and all those activities. So the first thing is to choose what structure you need to use, and then you choose how you are going to keep them clean. Okay, and you've said one of the ways is to use such kind of meshes with holes so that urine and droppings can go through. So we guide farmers who want to do that. We make such kind of hatches for them. So you can either try to improvise or you can look for the professionals to make for you who are already in that field. So usually those are the two approaches. So the amount of money you spend will depend on the kind of structures that you want. Some people go there even to import international structures, but they can always be customized with the materials that you have around you. So that is the way to go. The major customers of rabbits is usually the producers, the farmers who are keeping rabbits will be the one mostly to push the product for themselves, because now if you go to your local butchery, it is very hard to come across them selling rabbit meat. When you go to the agronomists, they will tell you, do not keep something for an agribusiness if your next door neighbor is not eating it. So nobody is promoting it in a way that we, the producers, would desire. So the end of result of that is that the farmers themselves are the ones who are actively involved in pushing the rabbit meat into the market. So I'll produce the rabbits and then I'll go on social media. These days it's very easy because we have social media with us. Then I'll push my product there. So it's the farmers who own the product who are more involved in taking it to the market. Currently that is the way it is. In the future we hope that as the farmers put the product out there, more meat retailers, food traders, the hotels and the like, the supermarkets, can also play a role, an active role, because there's a difference between stocking the meat and also stocking and talking about it. Because if you stock it and the consumers don't know about it, then they will not buy. Okay, so the best approach is you stock the meat and then you have a way of talking about it. Why should the people eat it compared to chicken or fish, and they are all white meats? So that conversation needs to happen, and currently it's happening more amongst the producers themselves and as far as they can reach the consumers. So that is the state of the work. You find spots here and there. It is not what we call mainstream. If you go to almost every butchery, you find they will have beef and goat and chicken and eggs and all that. Because the consumers have normalized to go and ask, you people, do you stock chicken? Because they see it every day. And when it comes to the rabbit, we do have only a few, retailers who will say, I think this is a good product, and I have a group of farmers near me who are keeping it that I can help push to the market. So it is not something that the consumers see a lot of the time in very many butcheries, for them to go to every butchery and ask, do you have rabbit meat here? Because it's not something they see on a daily. So we have a low population of farmers who keep rabbits for meat. As well, we have a few retailers who keep the meat. So it's a situation of, should we have more consumers first? Should we have more producers? As it is, the interest is growing as much as the people who are pushing the product in the market is also growing. I've been able to serve hotels in the process personally, or even some butchers here and there, on and off. Today they will get 10 kgs, tomorrow they will ask for 15, another time 25, another time they will go silent for 2 months, then they will come back. So that has been the nature of the rabbit business in reality. We do have what we call, of course, we have the policy level of, promoting the work. Okay, if you go to the government, maybe you find them talking about rabbits in the CBC, is a venture for children. So you will not find, if you talk about government subsidies and vitu kama hizo, you will never hear the president or the minister of agriculture talking about rabbits. Maybe they talk about dairy sector, chicken, because that is much more, it's a bigger industry than the rabbit industry. So you will find it is more of a niche field at the moment. Just like you would have the usual cabbages, there are a lot of them in the market. But if you visit some of the supermarkets in the market in Nairobi, you find that there are some that will sell the red cabbage. You see that dynamic. So you will never hear anyone talking about the red cabbage as much as you hear people talking about the usual white cabbage. So it's that dynamic where people will talk about more of chicken and less of rabbits. The same way you say, that doesn't mean that there's if you even look at the mainstream ventures like chicken, I'm hearing, I was reading somewhere on the media, there's a shortage even of eggs in the country. So they are saying they're importing some eggs due from Uganda because the eggs that are produced in the country are few. So as much as the ventures of chicken are more marketable, even in those ventures, people are not producing enough. So it's a matter of the state of where the country is, what people can be able to do, which ventures can be able to invest in, and most of the time people will choose to invest in the popular ventures than the niche ventures like the rabbit product. Rabbit meat is cheaper even than beef at the moment in most places around Nairobi. They're selling it at around 800 shillings per kg Of course, that's on average. In some upmarket places, you may find it over maybe 1,000 or more, depending on now the level of the restaurant where you are. But for the usual butchery outlets around everywhere, you find it at around 800. Beef around here is about 850 or more per kg, around 850. The goat meat is almost 1,000. Okay, so the rabbit is actually cheaper. So it's not a cost issue. It's a matter of I don't know how to cook this. People will feel that I don't know how to cook rabbit meat. I don't know. I've never interacted with it. Are you sure that this is serious food, or it is just a hobby for boys? So there needs to be a lot of awareness and professionalism in how we push the product to the market. So that is a gap that we have. Number one, we have some of the most important people in the industry of rabbits are the feed manufacturers, because the largest keepers of commercial rabbit ventures are the urban dwellers in Nairobi and such kind of urban centers. They are the majority, more than 90% in Nairobi, or rather in such kind of urban centers. So now, if all the feeds we have are to be bought, then we need professional feed manufacturers who have invested in formulation of rabbit pellets, and that has happened. So we have so many companies around Nairobi who are currently producing quality rabbit pellets, and that is a very important point. So that's also an employment. It's also a new income stream for them. We also have the hay sellers, the people who plant hay in Nakuru, Naivasha, Central Kenya, and wherever, who are exporting it to Nairobi, not just for the rabbits, of course, for the other livestock. So that's also an employment for them. The people who make the rabbitries, the people who sell the accessories of the rabbits, the people who trade in even the breeding stock, because if you start your farm, you will need the rabbits themselves. We also have people who trade even in the meat of the rabbits. I've even got an interest here. Someone says, I want to start an all-white meat butchery, because I have a case of, they say they may have a drive of pushing more of white meat for health reasons. So they will say that now that I've seen rabbits is there, I have a variety of chicken and fish and rabbits. So we have all those small employments here and there, which in due time, as we scale up the industry, will also be much more impactful in the economy. So we have a lot of automation going on in our farm, and it makes the work easier. So you automate the water, you put these pipes that you are seeing, it has a nipple, so the rabbit will press on the nipple and drink the water on demand. So they automatically, we say that sungura ni wajanja, so they will learn quickly from their own parents. And if a rabbit has never used it before, you just press it and feed it with water, so it will become like a bowl full of water. And as it drinks for the first day, automatically it will press the nipple and more water will feed in. So that is how they automatically learn to use them. So we have that. Then we have also manufactured, we invented what we call a rabbit hay rack. You'll be able to see it so that you can put hay there instead of putting it on the floor and they step on it. So that was our own sort of invention to solve our problem of feeding the hay. You can also use it for feeding the greens. You stack it there and they'll be pulling from the grills. So that makes work easier. So even to look after the 1,000 rabbits, they only need one person to look after because of that automation. So that shows you how easy the work of looking after rabbits becomes with all that kind of automation going on. I'll tell them to keep rabbits, but also take them to the market. Because if the moment you come together, you have more power and more abilities together, working together. So the greatest challenge when it comes to the rabbit industry is it is very easy to produce and they multiply very quickly. Starting with a pair of rabbits in January, by December we may be having almost 100 from only 2 rabbits. So the work of rabbits is not production. The work of rabbits is selling. Because like we said, it is a new industry, it's an emerging industry, and we have a lot of producers and very not matching consumption. So I would tell the people that come together to come together, but also to start from the market front, going backwards. I've seen groups where I think it was in Nyahururu or Nakuru or somewhere, when they came together to work with the rabbit in the rabbit venture, they started by opening a butchery. Okay, so they will have the butchery that sells the usual beef, the usual chicken and goats, but also rabbits is there. So that butchery becomes known. As we buy beef there, you can also find rabbits there. So that's their marketing front. And because people eat beef on a daily, the moment people are buying the beef every day, it is also paying the rent for the butchery. So it makes it easy for them to not be strained as they market their meat, as they don't sell every day, to say that they will be in some sort of financial stress. So it becomes a marketing front. As the rabbits grow up, then they will be putting 1 or 2 rabbits there every day, and people will be knowing that that particular butchery sells rabbit meat. And it reached a point, and from what they were saying, they were selling about 5 rabbits per day. That's a huge operation. In our farm, we sell about 200 per month. So if you divide that by 30, is about how many? Is it 6? So it's those are a group of farmers who are producing up to 1,000 rabbits. And you find that the people that are succeeding in that space, they don't even have to talk about it. That's why I said, again, we don't hear so much of them, because for them, they have already found a solution for themselves. So they produce and they have an outlet. So why should they advertise to everybody? And the production they have is being matched with the selling facility that they have. So that would be my advice. Produce, but with where you are going to sell being in part of your plan. Challenges, if you are starting the production and you don't have a training of how to feed rabbits in dry feeds, how to synchronize their breeding so that you make sure you always have supplies back to back and all that, you have a challenge in production. You may have even some rabbits dying if you don't know how to feed them. So we should advise people, if you want to keep rabbits at a commercial level, you visit an established farm like ourselves. We also do train farmers so that you get trained. It's a small investment compared to the kind of trial and error efforts you can make for very many years to come to learn on your own. And someone else has been that journey and they have made the mistakes that you are trying to make again on your end. So my advice is get trained first so that you know what portions of feeds do I need to give, what times do I need to give it, what quantities, do we need any medications for rabbits and all that. So that when you have that information, then you approach the work as a professional. You know, I usually say, people approach the work of rabbits with what I call juvenile simplicity. That means juvenile is associated with children. So they simplify the work of rabbits as being very simple. It's a venture of small children. The way it is being culturalized in our society. So I would say it's not an adventure for small boys. Try keep 1,000 rabbits like ourselves and tell me how easy it is if you've not been trained on how to do it. And try not to automate and you're keeping 1,000 rabbits and tell me how easy it is to watch 300 bowls like utensils in the kitchen every day. So even your cost of production will go high. So you need a training so that you know what we call the best practices. The best practices include the best housing you can get, the best feeds you can get, the best breeds you can get, and the best farm manager that you can get. Because you can have all the good facilities, but then you employ a small boy from the village who has never gone even through formal education and doesn't know how to measure or to weigh a rabbit and all that. Then you'll be having a very huge gap because it is a person you have entrusted to manage all the factors of your investment. So that would be my advice. We encourage people to travel. We do conduct trainings every other Saturday of the month, and we actually have a training coming Saturday. So we advocate, because right now we do not have farms all over the country. Of course, we have a few farmers here and there, but they don't have yet the facility or the skill that we have that can facilitate a training. We encourage people to travel here. Where there is a will, there is a way. If you want to learn, then you just come and rent a cheap hotel. If you're coming, we have people traveling from Siaya, we have people come from Uganda, we have people coming even from the United States to learn. We have people coming from Malindi and Mombasa. So travel from wherever you can. It's only a one-day training, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the training will help you for the rest of your production life. It's a 6 years experience accumulated in a intense day of training, and they also get to know how to slaughter a rabbit, how to eat. They also eat rabbit meat on the same day, and it is part of encouraging, the people to know how to do it properly. So we train people, but if you are a group of 10 farmers or more, we can travel to where you are. That one becomes a bit easier. If you are a group of maybe women or youth or men somewhere, and you are more than 10, we can volunteer to transport some of our training facilities to where you are, and then we can come and train you from there. But if you're an individual, we encourage you to come. If you have to travel one day before, find a hotel nearby and then report to class, it is for your own good. Just come. Yes. I usually say that we do have, of course, we have a lot of online resources. We teach about on our social medias handles on Rabbit Crew Kenya, YouTube, TikTok, wherever, and that's a lot of free tips. But now bringing in that whole knowledge into one package of A to Z, we also written a small book for the rabbit production. We say that the art of farming is physical. You have to do the work physically. Even if you learn online, when you start doing your farming, you can't do it over the phone. You have to do it physically. So we may consider condensing that training into an online course. That is also in the offering. But if able, a physical, there's that touch and feel of the actual rabbit themselves that will help you, the practical bits of the training. You'll be able to get them better if you're able to visit the farm. But we also make an online course for the people that want to learn online, well and good. That may help them to make a decision. Then from there they maybe visit the farm when they have made that decision. So in the future we'll have a formal training that is structured in an online portal. We do have a website, so we are planning on that. The effects, actually rabbits are being championed. I've worked with the climate smart looking organizations this year, and the advantage of the rabbit compared, for example, to beef production, there's what we call feed to meat conversion ratio. In livestock like cattle, it's about 18 to 20%. That means if you give a cow 1 kg of feeds, it will give you about 0.18 or about 0.2. That conversion, yeah, of weight gain. When it comes to the broilers, they are the highest converters, the chicken, so it will give you about 50%. That is why if you give a broiler chicken 1 kg of feed over whichever period it is that it has been fed by 1 kg, it will give you half a kg of meat. The rabbit is just below the broiler chicken, and it will give you about 0.25 to 0.33. That's very high. 0.33 on the higher side is almost doubling what a cow converts. So that means we need to feed rabbits less compared to how we feed cows. Rabbits also will not be able to pass gas. We hear concerns, sijui kuna methane gas ya ng'ombe, there are vaccinations against that going on. A rabbit will, actually if a rabbit has a problem with the stomach, it just swells. It's bloating. It swells and then it will die. So you need to be protective of giving the wrong feed. That shows you the rabbit will not be giving the emissions that we're talking about. Maybe after the factor of the droppings have come out and all that, but there's a way to manage. The manure is part of your farming anyway. So I would say that rabbits are fit. Right now we have decreasing large parcels. Right now we are talking about 50 by 100. The 1,000 rabbits you're seeing here, you can keep them in a 50 by 100 plot where you have a car parking lot and a 3-bedroom house and small structures in the compound. So that shows you that you can incorporate rabbit farming as part of urban ventures, so that as people get less land or even less water sources or food sources, then rabbits become very much easier to keep. Okay, so that in those aspects, then rabbits will give you an advantage over the large livestock. And again, with climate change, you're talking about droughts, cows have to walk very long stretches of land to get their feeds and water and all that. The rabbits, you keep them in a small space, they are here for a very short time. Within 3 to 5 months, you've already slaughtered them, they are gone. And they will convert feeds much more quicker than the other larger livestock. So in those aspects then, livestock like rabbits will make your work of food production very easy. And they also supplement the other farming activities. People talk about kitchen gardens today, and I was looking at one of the leading newspapers today, and the headline was talking about the poison in our food. So we have a concern of people using a lot of agrochemicals. Right now, I was even asking a friend, why is it that nowadays we don't find butterflies the way we used to find them in certain seasons when it is starting to rain? It is because maybe partly or part of it is the chemicals we've polluted in the farming, the rivers and all that. So when you have a rabbit like this one and you have a rabbit urine that you are collecting, it is an organic fertilizer and a biopesticide that you can use on your crops, and you reduce the reliance on those harmful chemicals that the newspaper was talking about. So that is also means that our environment is much more cleaner. So that is the approach and how the rabbits will contribute to a good environment and climate. Actually, you can use everything in a rabbit venture. Like I said, the main product that rabbits were domesticated for is meat. So number one is meat. After you slaughter a rabbit, you get the offals, the intestines, the parts that you are not going to eat. I have a farmer who who bought the rabbits from me, just nearby, who keeps a fish pond. Okay, so he has made, he's collecting the rabbit droppings and then using the rabbit droppings as part of the fish food in a ratio of about more than 70% of what the fish eat is rabbit droppings. Rabbit droppings are very rich. They are called the first droppings a rabbit releases are called psychotropes. They are very rich in nutrition. Even a rabbit will eat them again. The first droppings a rabbit will eat, you find it bedding like as if it is grooming itself, and then it will pick the droppings and chew them again. So if they happen to go through and it is not able to eat all of them, then the droppings is a sungura. You collect all of them, you put it in a fish pond, and it will support your fish pond. The urine, we also talk about it, you can use it in your kitchen garden, organic food production. The urine you can also use as a pesticide to chase away some insects from your crops. So it will reduce your cost of food production, cost of farming, and also the skin, you can process the leather. Some people, I have seen some farmers who are making some leather shoes from the rabbit skin. This is a kutembea kwa nyumba and all that. Some school bags for the children, some bracelets, some key holders with the feet of the rabbit and all that. So, and then also the offals, I've seen some farmers process it for dog food. They boil it and dry it or something, and they make it chicken feed or dog food or pig feed from it. So in that way, you actually see that after you slaughter a rabbit, you've used everything from it. But as you start your farming venture, before you get a foothold in the market, you have to start with one thing. So I've seen some farmers who either start with meat, some other farmers who start with breeding selection, so we'll be doing a lot of breeding so that if, for example, you had a group of 10 farmers with you or 15, and one of you is the one who initiated the idea to them, the others will require some rabbits as well. So one of them, people in the group who is more trained than the others, can become what we call a breeder. So they are breeding for them so that the others will also get the rabbits before they're able to hit the market with larger number. So you also need a breeder amongst your group. And then you also do have the manure, like I said, the rabbit manure has the highest nitrogen, even beyond cow manure or goat manure. So if you have a farmer you are growing some vegetation, maybe vegetative horticulture, the one that needs a lot of leafy greens like sukuma wiki and spinach and all that, then the manure will be very good for you. So it also keeps a lot of moisture, and it is also what we call, it's a cold applied manure. You take it from the rabbit today and you take it to the soil. It will not burn your crops. So those are the advantages. So actually that is how you use everything in the rabbit value chain. So that is it. Obviously, you can always do as much as you can to protect your investment, but I would say that you don't need to inflate your operations at the start. If you are starting, most people have, in my experience, most farmers will start very, very small. They will order from us maybe a 12-hatch rabbitry, and they just want to test the waters. First as a domestic venture for their home consumption of meat, to find that this meat they have been told is good. Is it good for themselves first before they try to sell it out there? So in that phase of starting small, it is akin to just keeping 10 chicken, the way you keep 10 chicken in your home. So
Future plans?
my future plans is to see more people eat rabbit meat. That is a first for us. If more people eat more rabbit meat, it means that the more rabbits we can raise, the more customers we can get. So we cannot increase the number of rabbits that we keep if the number of people who are eating rabbits is also not increasing. I will not. The way to grow a market is, the way to grow this venture is to have all the players in the rabbit value chain playing a part. The consumer is the most, usually they say they are the MVP, the most valuable person in the rabbit value chain, because we can do all these efforts of raising the rabbits and raising them. Even we plan to even do 10,000 rabbits, even 100,000 when that time comes. But that will only be determined in how easy it is to move volumes of the meat. Right now we are doing a retail operations. We produce at the farm, and then we advertise that we have rabbit meat, and then people will order. So it's not on a case, order by order basis. You ask, you pick one live rabbit, we slaughter, we send a delivery to you. And it is not scalable. If you are doing that, it is not scalable, because if today I get one order in Kidimani, another one in Kidedeshwa, another one in Kitengela, another one in Buruburu, it becomes very hard to coordinate. It is easier if we had shops that are stocking our meat in each of those locations in bulk, and people are buying in bulk every day. That is the vision, that we can get more people eating rabbit meat, perhaps in the mainstream in the future. I'm sure that even the chicken that we eat today so much, at some point maybe it was not known very many years ago. That is true, isn't it? So for the same reasons, I do believe, but we do have a very big conflict when it comes to rabbits. Most of the people will see them as very cute, not to be eaten. They look like pets, you know. Some even say that they look like cats. So we have a long journey of not presenting the cute rabbits to the people more, but presenting the rabbit meat to them more, so that they don't see where it came from, and they'll be able to see the meat and desire more of the meat than the cute rabbit.
Okay, maybe there's one question that I forgot to ask. Maybe what would you like to see maybe the counties, county governments, and the government doing to support
the rabbit? Yes. I would like them first to take it as a serious venture. Okay, I would like them to stop thinking that this is a venture for children in the CBC curriculum, and think of it as a serious agribusiness that can be done as much as people keep chicken or keep goats or keep cows. Then from that mindset, they'll be able to say, how can this agribusiness be strengthened? And number one way I would want them to do is to interact with the people that stock meat, the people who sell meat. Is it government to private partnerships, whatever it is? Let them invite them to the table and sensitize them on why they need to stock rabbit meat as well. So the easiest way for the government to make a landing, the easiest investment that I would want them to make, is not mostly to interact with the farmers, but to interact with the people that present the meat to the consumers. But right now we do have places like the Kenya Meat Commission that works with the, I think, is it beef and goats? Yeah. So why can't we have the meat commission of some sort, thinking also about the rabbit part of the meat business? So the rabbit.
Kongoi missing. Gladiator nege kumuswagi nenyone Nairobi. Kass FM International. Kagibe soet kwanet ab kulo raun kulo gasi. Tarigit kotetemogoeng en roptui. Kevin na kwanet yego tui temete roptai monge gine wenu mi kwanet lino. Yego no kiogera mune sigere roptui mangabisa go roba ni kumye. Kenya kwanza nyum kutesta kungolole ni cheket tesomba tai ak tetutikab betikibwone koiga chebore vision 2013 nekiga koto President Kibaki lombo kongiti kenyis lombo angwan kityo siko kokoito soe kokoito kandoinatet koto vision 2013 tarikimite ni kagile kikinyoru enje kisetel ko kikinyoru 66% kemwoito sirutik ana biikab logoiwek kole kikinyoru 66% enje kikasetel Kibaki vision 2030 kokosetel akine President Ruto vision 2060 keker 2060 tatun keune ako nyolu keyai ne asikeit yoto 2060 ko kong'et kenyit somok kityo ama kityech kenyit 100 en katiaknatenyon 2063 ko ki kenyit 100 en Kenya kong'eten katiaknatenyon nebo 1963 ko 100 years ko kotet Mheshimiwa Ruto up to 2060 ako koyat ng'olyondoni ana ko koterekta ng'olyondoni en tarik 12 arawanitoni oin komwa ole kibendito takeng'ololen sine sikeseten komie ko kialak kole manyolu keseten ngot komeyai chi vision akotok vision nganyiyoe ne bo kwong'ut biik alak amayoboki kwanet kokonech tetutikwak chebo taa akeriptoiyot nyongiot ose arabor en Australia chonjo kabisa
Kongoi Daktari Sambu kemwaman kunoto there's supposed kiro beyond emotinwek alak tugul ko kikibilden in principle chebo ng'alekab vision konataka president nebo emetab Kenya akingen Amuru olikinye 1963 Daktari from the big kebulana je ko kimi tu ke ko ime na ta jamgelen tu somok ke ime te mite ngale mwagi abus na tet ngale nini. That is why I go say go mi ngale education ngale civitali go address an issues kuna ta keme gira kwa ne ke go ngete ke nam ka tiak na tet to sune banda imeta Kenya to stu juki gi na me uru to go imedi abo ga gere a responsibility go net negando ke go mandate imeta Kenya. Imete kiti ka subikyo ngewege Olimba County ne bagejo ke nyoruge de nangne de nanjini maina keles senige tastai akwane tapol karibu de no denisto nungsoe.
Kongoi missing ya wasa. Kongoi missing ya kwanet na ikuti nafasi na ndwaj missing. Amaje nguni asikobit kityo abwatwa kakobo boisionik chemiten eng kebeberta nebo Ainab Keles. Boisiet netai chitab college nekimwat kan tugul ko boisiet nebo sauna. Nekimwachin biikab college atkan tugul kelejini so bich kora sauna konyorchigei chametabgei nebo borwekwok. Sauna kotoreti konyor pressure eng borto akochob lainishek chebunoto korotik anan tigitik anan ortinwekab korotik kochobe kabisa sauna komie si kotich kobendat korotik komie kou ole nyolundoi kochorgei ng'oliot nekemwoe kele pressure. Pressure ko yan kakilasimishan korotik kobendat eng borto so toreti sauna koboto sakitiek chebo kalenjin chu kicham ketukyingei eng kasarwek chu kiche tugul komiten eng kebeberta nebo Ainab Keles. Alenjini biik tugul orutechin koi boyo koi chepyosok akot koi kijanayan koi kenyisiek 18 kechamun ichut sauna so orutechin akwek tugul inyorchingei chametabgei nebo borto eng kebeberta nebo Ainab Keles. Miten kora restaurant ole kiamishen, miten makawet ole amwachin biikab kalenjin alejini yeitite Ainab Keles imwaite anan ikoite order neng'ung eng amitwogik chemokyinigei asikobit kechobun amitwogik chon. Mi chebo kipkaa amitwogik ngwek chebo kipkaa imache mursik amitwogik chan tugul chebo kipkaa inyoru eng restaurant nebo Ainab Keles. Ako ngoichi kora nechome amitwogikab kasari imache chipis imache ngokiet bendo nekakibel inyoru kora tugul taa kityo ikoite order asikobit kechobun amitwogik chon. Ak nerube komiten olit neo missing nekeyaen tuyoshek amwain biikab kalenjin kora alenjin nyorutechi kora Ainab Keles oker ole konyorchigei nafas koyai tuyoshek eng conference facility neo missing ako miten kora entertainment miten live band. So ngomiten kampunishek cheche kong'wan keyaen tuyoshek keyaen ng'alekab motivational speaking kolenen biik alak keyaen ng'alekab kimakot akot nebo kanisa oba kora koyai tuyoshek kwak en Ainab Keles. Miten nafas neo neyamat kabisa. Mi kora ole keruitos yoitite komakerkir missing mi ole keruitos miten private rooms roomishek chechegen imuche iru inyegen anan oru ak family roomishek chu ko self contained so otokoti tugul orutechi kebeberta nebo Ainab Keles for accommodation purposes. Miten kora nekekuren dormitory nekikiteunen aeng kamasta nebo boisiek ko kikitech kot kebeberta age keba kamasta age ketech nebo chepyosok. Korichu ko kergei mi kitondok chechang orit ak boisie tugul kitandenyin en Ainab Keles. So komokyinigei ruonik kokobendoti kou biik chechang as a group komiten restaurant miten dormitory neo missing nemiten eng kebeberta nebo Ainab Keles. So tokoti bichon orutechin kamasta nebo Ainab Keles ak koyai booking ako mi anyun kora swimming pool. So yekakomong nguno notar kasisiek tugul chekoyae kaing'et chito fresh emet kou nguni raini iwe swimming pool ibeibire beek kabisa kokemutotin lakwa neng'ung anan ko lagokuk komi kebeberta nywan nebiren beek lagok chemengechen. So kikichopchi swimming pool nenywan akine nekinetengei nebo lagok chemengech off the main swimming pool akebwa swimming pool neo missing nemuche kobiren beek biik cheechen en yonitet. So biik cheken kobir beek komi kamasta nenywan ako mi kora lifeguards mi biik chemuche konetak akomwoe kole makisire yu akot komengen ibir beek ko biik chon ingen kosumen kabisa mi akot alak chelonye chepkot barak konait olin sikotwon kochut beek orit ako nyokotaiben yon kele tachu kokile kechut beek akebendaten beek orit ak bemong'unen taa olino komukokse cha tugul keyaen Ainab Keles. Akot komongen oyoe kunoto omuche osom korok kele monstetenwok kiborwok kele kiyoito ano taisi komi biik chemi yonitet chemuche koyai ng'alechak tugul. So biikab kalenjin kotokotin akwek eng kebeberta nebo Ainab Keles. Kongoi missing.
tetutiet nemi soet ko tetutietab kwanetab kula. Mete kora sitikebe kenyoru kasubik chok kebeberwek cheterchin ak kenyoru kora boisiek akot kwambojet koskei kenyoru kastakitut. Lakini kora meche abwatchi kasubik chok tugul ale oratinwek tugul tarik 17 ing emetab Australia kwanetik chemi olimbo Sydney, Australia, Kalenjin Community Organization, umbrella neituitos lagok chok olimbo New South Wales kotinye cultural celebration gala neng'wa kwane kibagenge tarik 17 kemi kebeberta nebo olimbo Sydney, Australia katachet noto kiongozi Mr. Esron Baranga, chairman nebo Kalenjin Community, Uncle Gilbert Chumba ak kandoik tugul kebendi kimi Melbourne, kimi Brisbane, kimi Western Australia, kimi Adelaide, kimi Queensland, kimi Northern Territory, kimi Tasmania. Ongetuyeji olimbo New South Wales Kalenjin Community 2026 kala oratinwek tugul. Kongete yu ameche ake crosset akoi kebeberwek. Akemwa kwamba chepkoskei ile Kangumu the blues kokoiwetab anan Kangumu on behalf kemwaun pole ak akere imi soet. Karibu Kangumu.
Chamgei Osea yemune.
Ajamege pole.
Koi nyasutioni Osea ngoni komakibwotchini. Kinya boiyot kabisa kiteben sipitali ngakimite strike nekikorom mising kokitiem daktari konye kasatak Osea. Anu kosubkei ak amune nekomatikomukoksei kokibet boiyot kunotok koin kosomok kasi. Ngalechi kongoi kwamba chepkoskei mukakoet akomwaita kiwakas. Ngalechi kongoi mashabik tugul chon kokas ngalechu komwaita kabisa. Akot Pelista chepchok akot amos biwot ngabrer tetesia kokomwa kainautik kwak. So atache mashabik tugul Osea koin kepangan kelen kele kopangan ak harambeisyek chebo lagok sukul. Patatis wai kokiib harambee nebo boiyot nenyonet akoi tarehe 1 arawab 9. Ko biik chekimokchinigei pangani chep sukul kora. So komatakoi kimuch achegei kepangan amu biik chepangani kochuto pangani chebo harambee chebo sukul chebendi university lagok. Kokinde tarik 1 arawab 9 ipkebortona tarehe 2 kesikan tarehe 3. So kimokchinigei toretet Osea amu makimuchi boisionik sindikisanetab boiyot achegei ko ki family kemak kobunwon choronokchuk cheumi bitono. Kimache toretet kobun viongozi tugul, kimache toretet kobun mashabik tugul, ak kemoche toretet kobun biikab kokwet ak biik tugul Osea kanisosiek. Osea ang'wan ko sigindet konoe iman ale ngang'wan kokiibet sigindet. Ameche ale family nenyo tugul chebo kaptuwei tugul ng'ete kabiyet lesosi no chemi Tindretini ak oleboi kaptuwei tugul kwa ujumla ale ino komulian. Ameche ale boiyot kekure Daniel akelen mutyo kabisa, kilen mutyo family nenyonet Osea. Ko eng M-Pesa number Osea chi nemoche mutai kait harambee kotoretech ko 0728 853 450.
Kongoi nabas nekekona asikobit ang'alal akine eng ketesyo nenyo nebo Kasabani ale in 2026 keite ako nerube amoche asomin eng kamining'etab amwaita pole akine alechi family nebo korat Kangumu mutyo eng baba nenywa nekoipotesan atinye akine tilia nekokipotesan eng olimbo Koyo, olimbo Kaptumo, Kap Joshua kokipotesan Chemutai Kasarani mama nenyu tugul mutyo amu in kosirto Chemutai ine eng kasarta nenwach ko kikomyan. Amoche alechi familia kosor tumutyo akomi harambee eng betutab Jumapili. Alechi choronok akot Chansarab Kering sikemong'ugei tugul kebe ketoret eng harambee Jumapili sikobit kesikan ine Chemutai tar 26 anan 28 tomo kechulwa yoto komie. Amoche alechi Arap Kering sikobirwo sikomwoiwo.
Le agere una kachulda nekele Alima Chemu mangu limba kebeberta nebo Tigalo ngenyoru ngetech boda boda
Chamgei Hosea.
Chamgei.
Oi ngakase ingetongeti mongen ale kalyaen. Alelion waini ko Hosea. Akase ingetongeti akot kama kekase in kangumu. Kama kekase kabisa kangumu. Amache alechi in kangumu mutyo mising akobo baba nenyinet. Kimi tugul pamoja. Kilen mutyo mising. Hosea. Oye testai mutwaitai biik chechang komache Australia. Oye testai mutwaitai ichobwa betut nenyu abwati December ichobwa sinyikeae tuyet Masaba. Ko en ng'alalutik tugul chekakong'alal biik kimache boisionik en Hosea. Kimache kandoik kwaiwech boisionik. Yatya kiwekyin Murkomen kongoi amu kokanyo Kapsabet amut kwakere konyo kosungukanat sipitalishek koro boisionik chetesetai Nandi. Koi alen kongoi Hosea eng ng'alalutik tugul. Kotwok kwamba Chepkoskei Pastor Kitur abecha tugul. Kongoi mising Hosea nabas nekekono. Kongoi.
Noto ko chitab Olimba noto ko ngetech nebo boda kongete Olimba kebeberta nebo Masaba ang kaunti nebo Nandi kongete kaunti nebo Nandi amoche kenyoru Joel Kogo tindiret. Joel Kogo.
Jamgei Hosea. Kongoi mising Hosea ang nabas nekekono. Ameche ale mutyo korong korap baba nebo Kambungumu angot ale man yekakibet sirindet kouyo kakamwa nga betutab harambee kokichut kunoto kereni pole Kangumu ak chami tugul nebo konywa. Koin Hosea kaikonech sikobit kiro ng'alekab vision nebo anan boisionik chetesetai eng serikalinyo. Kimeche kepongesan korok serikalinyo amu tesetai president kotyemei koker kole kainoan emoni nyonet eng oret ne inegei. Kikere nguno barabaresiek chekimani neng'ete nguno Narok konyo Bomet akonyo Kericho konyo Nandi akonyo Uasin Gishu akwo komanda kekere sabeiyo nguno kopimani kemeche kemwochi serikalinyo kokonyo kiotok kwak amu kit neboti biik kokakoker kotebekei chiik kole ngukakwak iman. Kit nekomokekere eng tinset kekere nguno kotesetai mi barabaret netesetai eng yo. Kekere kele bendi kepiman 16 kot kotestai boisionik cheu ngiro Kapsabet yokokitekta kakomwa kwamba Chepkoskei kemeche kelechi kongoi kora amu ndamaine kora komwoitoi ortinwek tugul kwamba Chepkoskei asikobit kenai kele mi corridor nebo biikab Kalenjin nebune tinset akonyo komanda kwa Uasin Gishu. Ko inete nikikimit ko mising kwamba Chepkoskei meche kelechi kongoi amu komwa biik kole ndama kwamba Chepkoskei kabisa kowach tomakingit kele tos takoker iman kuni amu kikewach kabisa kong'ete man kekere koboiboiyenyo eng tinset kele kibetokchinigei man vision 2030. Ko yakakiyai boisionik biikchok ko ki biikab Kalenjin aketeche affordable houses kwakere chebo Nandi kakekonop ko ikachiket biikab Kalenjin chekakikopwan korikyok matukochi biik alak nyokokwal korik kokochi biik chebo Central chebo Western olin iman valid kokomwa chitugul lakini ngoikachek biikab Kalenjin chekakikile sikeal korichuto kora akemeng'isye aketech taonishekchok ako ikachek chekokialchigei tugukchok amu isi akot ndakeng'alal Kiswahili ama akase chi ongetechgei kokimi gaa ngokakebar nebo gaa kokakobar president kunotok aketechgei kikilgei biik keyai boisionik konoto nekemakchinigei. Kongoi mising sikiberurok Arap Kogo.
Noto ko Arap Kogo. Joel kongete Olimba tindiret amoche kebe kenyoru Arap Tanui kongete Olimba Kamureito Olimba County nebo Bomet. Kamureito Bomet County.
Nemye Hosea.
Karibu tasa.
Yamune.
Kadamege.
Yamune olomba Australia.
Bye kabisa.
Kiboiboi achek en oli kokinyoru ropta kidogo. Bye emet. Kisochini kityo in boiyot William en boisionik chekikere chekiyoe. Ako mi biik che mikose kora kouo makere kole yoe. kesochini kora bichoto keng'okyi konyek sikoker kole kiyoe. Anibuch ko kararan emet. Inoker ane serkalishek chekiroker ko serkalit nekobois ko ni William ak nikibo boyo. Lanot akose biik kobore biik kiyai kibaki komokere amun mokinyoru momi kii ne impact nekekere en olinyon oliep Kamureito Bomet kele kichop kibaki. Kit nekikere chokochopwech William ko barabaret neng'eten olekile Kapkoros akwo akoi Kapkelech Technical College, Technical TTC nemi Kapkelech. Kekere barabaret ine kekerere olin kokonam nebo Chekole, kikonam nebo Meriki. Kekere boisionik ine kele boisie. Aya ng'oliot ake Hosea kikosomin kinye kora ako tosome kora en oliep Kamureito momi wei lakwa nekikomanda en koroni kabisa. Kiosomin inolenjin pangan siker ole kekertot Bomet inegen ot ndenyone once Bomet imwochi chile tarikit nekile kebwone kiyum lagok. Chang lagok chemi resop chekikograduaten kitar diplomaisiek ne ako mi ane kemutegei tugul en yu amomi kasit nekeyoe. So asome ne ole betut nekeitu koroni iteste Bomet alan ot kosoti ole kende keityini anibuch ko kikokilgei lagok. Kikile lagok keleini kosomoso bet ak kemo asi kotot komandat ndomon tot kamandat agenge kochute kochutkei lagok. Anibuch bana Hosea ko serkalit ni William kesochini bet ak kemo ak kesochini cho mokere kole boisie William sikoker kora kole boisie William. Anibuch motinye ng'al chechang amwoe kityo kongoi en nafas nekekonon asiamwa akane views chechuk kounon Hosea. Asante sana Hosea, ikat bororiet ak ikat kwandap Chepkoskei. Akere mondo bilit nekikamwa kole kimoche kebuta rabinik chon tugul chon kindo CTF, chon kindo gavana, chon kindo seneta, chon kindo ne akinde ministry akikoi kap Safaricom. Kiakere kora ng'oliot nemuche koyai kap Safaricom Hosea. Kotko imuche koregistan biik Safaricom 19,000,000 iwe kotemene lagokab sukul kokonin exact data nebo lagokab sukul kole chekile akoyai serikali hesabu kole lakwet age tugul kobendi ak siling ata. Ko kit neui iman maui. Kiakere kityo ale chorirenot olon oldage okot SHA komeko chorirenot kou konye cham koboldos biik akobore moyoe kasit SHA. Lakini ane ko kiroboisie SHA amun kiatinye lakwet ne makwelat borto ko liponwon SHA tomo aroigei. Nabo aroigei ko chon kilelen kityo kelang'en karit anibuch ngeita sipitali koboisie SHA ine. So ongesochin emet kotestai emet komie ak kenyoru vision 2060 non kochoran president nekimong'u kele kimondoi. Thank you very much Hosea.
Kongoi noto ko chito Kamureito kokibo Bomet, kakas biikab Bomet, kakas somet ngosom biikab Bomet chematemi kotoretech kamuktaindet akote kotigetinye kimnotet kutum kora paketu ketieme kiro kele kakityi kebeberwek tugul kimuchi kitoune kokakebe county age kotun kebe county age kora for information session akeng'ololchi biik chok kotepchi ng'olyo akiarorchi akiborchi oret. So kakas olimbo kebeberta nebo Kamureito olimbo Bomet. Abire kora tabwotchi biik ale oye ami ketetoti ak my team under Hosea Kiprono Foundation second edition nebo Education Expo and Information Session ak Reverend Kitur kenyini keyai tofauti kidogo. Tinye exhibitors chenyo kong'alale kora ng'alekab SACCOs, ng'alekab mung'areshek, ng'alekab local opportunities ak kekere opportunities abroad tun kyoe development in primary school for 2 days. Ako kenyini kora aketieme kabisa kimutu timishek karibu 20 taman kobunu kokwet ab development ko taman kobunu external. Registration go ongoing on the Facebook page nebo Hosea Kiprono Foundation. Register ngimeche nyie ku partner, ngimeche nyonyi participate tesetai registration kongoi volunteers kongoi biik chekokobwa on board kole kiponite idea ak kesupporteni sikomuch kerichen biik chechang kabisa. So kongoi kabisa for the support ak asome kwanetab Kola ak Kass FM yes itun kegu partners kiketestai keyai boisionik tugul ako boisioni kora keyami kibagenge ak timitab kwanet eng betunotok kotokotin eng kokwetab Olibo. Between time check Nairobi.
Really good. You got any kids?
Yes.
How?
We have a son together. His name is Paul Undick Jr. And he's also in Kenya. And he loves it there. He's been going there since he's 5 months old.
I'm sure you call him using Carib Online.
Yes, I do.
You-
All the time.
Ndio, all the time.
All the time.
Oh, that is great.
Karibu Online is a very good phone card to call Kenya because hizi makadi ziko hapa tunatumia, they don't give you enough minutes to call Kenya. 5-10 minutes it's gone, but Karibu Online is giving you a lot of minutes, and at the same time it's very accurate.
Kongoi olimbo Nairobi kakeweke kongete time check Nairobi. Amite ketestai, amite kenyoru notok Put Karoli sikebe kenyoru Shikuku ak Gloria Mali. Put Karoli.
Kongoi ose aboinda nekakikon akobo kamanut. Ngataune korok amwachin Kangumu pole ka nebo familia nebo Kangumu tugul. Akot teleb Kabrisan komite family nenyin nemi Munderet lejini mutyo mising alejini mutyo bichoto tugul akichek tugul chemongen kainaikwak. Ng'oliot ose nekemwa eng betutab rani ko kangakas kong'ololi kwamba chepkosyek ko kikamwa kole ngeiste bananda, ngeiste rubet ak keiste mogonjweshek. Ko inyendet nguno imi keiste kabisa ng'oliotab absnatet. Somanet, keng'ololchi chi, kemwochi chi kokas, koisto chukai tugul cho, koisto mogonjweshek, koisto cha tugul cho. Kemwoe kelen kongoi amu kiobe tai ako nemising amwoe kongoi kinyo cherubisi, kinyonyi yai boisionoto. Akase itakchinigei olinbo Arap Kering tulwop koyo. Alechini nose ak sikuk kongoi. Akinasome anyun ose ngaminingetabkei. Amwoe kouni matokere chi ng'etkong boisiet noyoe bicho amu ngap komi biik chemoche koyai yaityo sikoisto neya. Kameche amwa ale ongoisto chesawilinoto no Jehova akobwa anyun ose eng kimnotet. Makakas Denista akine eng olinbo Motobo komi ak Rubani Arap Chepkwony. Alechini okilgei ak bichoto tugul. Eku kieleleso amu itaita. Kakonin recheret ak akachi kwamba chepkoskei katikonet ak biik tugul chemi panelit kondochin Dr. Sambo amuni eng kemite yu kemi kekas ak biik ak kong yekaikas ikas ng'oliondonoto tugul ak iyai ko nememuchi inde eut barak ketoretin anan makitoreti Hosea.
Wala kitoreti.
kitoretigei amu kitinye lagok chakakemwa kele tindoi degree, tindoi PhD, matindoi boisioni. Inde eut barak, inde alamit barak sikemwa. Kami ng'alyoni kakeletit kwamba chepkoskei. Imuch ko kingomwae Mheshimiwa Cynthia kolen oribo, ko kikimwa kityo kele oribo. Ngakeris kwa mama molen anyun in kakanyo ole kakerte salaki anyun ndakakere kuya koikere akinye ose akotreteni owakilen oribo kolen oribo ngowek Cynthia sikolitit yoto Mheshimiwa Cynthia ngowek sikolitit ko kikotable kityo kole kiamwa ale oribo anan komwa ale yekamwaitait sikelitit akine. Ko ng'alyon nameche amwa kityo ko chitugul ebit kasi chemwoe boisiek akile ngondoiwech boisiek akoi keit ole kibendi ngesochi Arap Ruto ak boisionik chiik chemiachen akesochi kora koistogei chesawil chetakobwone kemwa eng tai yo. Kongoi amwachini kongoi inab Kipkalas nekitachech kemi Kapkembur Primary School kondochin boyoto Sasambu komi akine kijanayani Arap Kurui akerer anan kiyale kikure Kipkurui kerer alen kongoi kitachet family choto kimwa kongoi kakile meai kiy nemaimwa kongoi akot akinye amwaun kongoi yeitesetai ngokerin bunya koimeni okoi kolabait emet kokakibwa kongoi.
Kongoi noto kobut Karoli kong'ete olimbo kap Western olimbo Nandi County ameche kekirosen itinye boyot Charles Kering Nandi County.
Kongoi Hosea, kongoi katinyo nebo karibu online, kongoi ing tetutiet noto kaibwech ing betutab ra ak panel tugul. Yamune Hosea ngolibo Australia.
Ami komye kabisa Arap Kering.
We kichame akichek ngoleb Nandi roboni nekararan. Akeker kamuraran emet ang kora karon kele kongoi ing tetutiet noto kaibwech ing panel sikobit keker akobo ng'alekab Vision 2060 noto komwa president. Eng iman Hosea in 4 years chuto kokwai president. Kotogu boisionik chekokwai. Ngot kowekto noto no kotoret Mungu konyor 10 years. Kekere kele kobeku 10 years eng emoni kokakowalak emoneb Kenya. Kot kaketau keker tuguk chekikwak ng'olibo Singapore amu imukoksei. Kingeng'alale ng'alekab affordable housing kokikere biik alake kuyo tugun chememukoksei. Lakini eng reality nguno ngiker koune mekere chitugul ile kokotestai nekararan. Kimi manifesto ang'o nekibo Kibaki, kimi manifesto ang'o nekibo Uhuru. Lakini makany kotoi that program. Lakini koimuch kotoi President William Samoei Arap Ruto program nata koisuldae. Ng'alekab oret nebrironi Mau Summit nito oret nito nyone ni Hosea ni nekit kikoek tabu kobun wai Nairobi. Ornoto Hosea nyone oret kabisa nakere ngapwa December wakitakeron kilamit. Amu kere kusukumani Chinese kabisa. Kutuguk legacy nekere kele wendi kometa president tuguk chekornen tuguk chemuoksei. Orno railway kele meche ketarin railway kuna nimandoi kwa kumanda Kericho kwa Kisumu akwa makoi Malaba. Meche sino kwa railway kora. Progress chekimache market chekiteje stadiums chekiteje eng emoni. Tuguk kikeutie kenyisiek chechang. Lakini ke president kokotoi. Angot aldai ole kokotoi university nekile Kaimosi kotoreti Mheshimiwa Merian Keitany. No kotesta boisionik ortin lami nekitindoi aldai Hosea mwaun kuni atkinye komi Dr. Sel koske since independence kokilamit agenge nekitindoi aldai. Lakini amache awekyi kongoi Merian Keitany president. Amu tiare kokechoran ortinwek nguno tesetai lamit nguni nekae kokete kobuche koreteni babware akoi Miwani. Tuguk chekikere eng konyekchok ak alak chetekakile kokilonchen chemeche kotestai. Ko tuguk choto chekikere cheyoe president orna nguno ng'alekab somanet universities mawendi kolipani lakwa nguno fees lipanchi serikali. Tuguk chemiachen chekikere ak kalyet ak tesetab tai nemi emenyo nebo Kenya. Kemeche kemwa kele Vision 2060 imukoksei ngot ketestai eng kalyet kotimabit ki nekeinik cheu amunyoru ng'emang'emeng lugaitab atebet nebo emet. Kikele kotesetai ngenyoru kandoik visionable cheu Arap Ruto William Samoei Arap Ruto keite Singapore nematiny. Ara Hosea kinget kilomi ak lagokyok olibo Australia olin. Inyone December ole poyoli atochin Hosea timing'ung alena karibu kiketech oli neo neimuchi ne competence angot biik angot 1,000 ak ing'ololchi lagokyok tugul ndemukoksei chebo Nandi tugul sikobit konai kole kibetano emetab Australia ak emotinwek alak. Kongo missing atindoi tuyet nebo boisiek nekibendi nguno abroad korik cheba kama cheba ACK ala ni tukul cheba parishita koyo ngerete kibrotkorik poishek tukul cheba kama yetunde tu yenyone bo boishek kibrotkorik kanisa ta brotkorik lege man ino lino sea le tu ne itabini skame le itabini Kisumu ale karibu sea rakwering tulo doga koyo nandi
Kongoi nata ko ya Charles Rapkering inondorap koyonande ikat boisietab amituyet eng betutab rani. Ndekele sikinyoru makulo kenyoru boiyot kwamba kosmei kosamarasanwech tetutiet nekobo betutab rani akeweke Nairobi. Ameche kityo tanyor chi agenge sikeweke olimbo kebeberta kenyoru boiyot kwamba Chepkoskei kenyoru noto ko Gloria Man.
Ole imukakse tuguk tugul eng kayanet imukakse tuguk tugul eng kayanet boisiek ang'ot ikere iwe imukakse tuguk tugul eng taitab kamuktaindet chekakinde taitab Jehova lakini chekindoi taitab kimugulmet koui komukak amu indochin kimugulmet ako yo metindoi vision ameche ale koikose ng'e amu sobet age tugul akot ngiboti mbaret ko kenyoru vision nebo mutai asimutai ionde rubet akot ngisomesani lakwet imeche iste ujinga ak inyoru borotet nebo somanet ko age tugul noton neesio kole 2060 komo vision noton ne makat keng'etin kelonjin ko chi nekose ng'eng yani matindoi met amatindoi tai matindoi let amatindoi tai amu yewendi kityo kwendi kityo kiptungtung yani moingen kole yowendi kou ne ako ne nomakchinigei eng tayun ikere ile president nemiten nguno nekit ko president aeng chokere ane Gloria Man ale kokwai boisionik eng oret noton nebo kimnotet kabisa akokere vision nebo emetab Kenya ole makat kotepto ikere Kibaki nekilonjen vision 20 vision nebo 2010 anan kilene wechotok ak nguno in vision nebo in Arap Ruto nekolonjen 60 years iwe ikere ile ko oret agenge netindoi keret noton nekikere kele ndo mutai ngeiteun kole kemitei kou ne ko noton akere ale kimite ko kararan kabisa ako kotestai nye ko chewoktos iwe ko akot setani ko maboibochin Hosea boisionik chemyachen akot boisiet no ikere kotau Hosea cho no ameche mwaun alechin okimekitu akonyikanitu amu mi oik chemeche simutai ko murtai nebo boisiet noton nekotau me simutai kotai alak kowira kole kotep kole kobe yu ko maobwa yu ko ikere ile oret agenge nemeche korok komeche nyikanatet ak kimnotet nebo boisio age tugul no kitoi kekimchi ak iker tai lakini ngotiker taban ak taban kowendi imete boisionoto ara isin komeche ane Hosea alein kongoi kwamba Chepkoskei korok kakolitit ng'olyo ako kameche asatebe kityo kwamba Chepkoskei asale lelutik chekakiyae tuguk choto chebo kalenjin kuyoto kakoarorwech ng'alekab sinendet ak chi nekakwai kiptuibotoi nebo tugukab kalenjin ara nyolu keitane kwamba Chepkoskei nyolu ketis anan nyolu kelyochi nebo let ko alech kityo ng'onmutyo kabarameli akobo sirtoetab kijanayat noto nekikure Rasken Binda Harambee Jumatatu asikobit kekonor bortonyi betut nebo kosomok kasi kongoi tupchenyu Gloria Man koptu
Kongoi noto ko Gloria kong'ete olimbo kaptimo boiyot kwamba Chepkoskei chang tebutik chekaketech samaraisen kwamba Chepkoskei akibwotyi biik ile mi banda nekebendi korap Pastor Kitui kwamba Chepkoskei
Yes, we have a son together. His name is Paul Undig Jr. And he's also in Kenya, and he loves it there. He's been going there since he's 5 months old.
I'm sure you call him using Carib Online.
Yes, I do. All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Oh, that is great.
Carib Online is a very good phone card to call Kenya because hizi makadi ziko hapa tunatumia, they don't give you enough minutes to call Kenya. 5-10 minutes it's gone, but Karibu online is giving you a lot of minutes, and at the same time it's very accurate.
Samaraitan kwamba Chepkoskei akibwotyi biik ile mi banda nekebendi korap Pastor Ng'itui kwamba Chepkoskei. Kongoi koskoikyok. Moche kongoi kora koskoikyok eng cheibe eng kot tugul ko ose korok nomeche akochi kongoi His Excellency the President ak kandoikyok tugul, kandoik chebo kipsigis chebo Nandi. Kiawach kong'ete alechi eng oret ile nyone tuiyo Nandi eng kipsigis. Abaibai kot mising amu oret neng'ete olimbo neng'ete Nairobi konyo Kericho nyokonyo Kelion nyokonyo akoi Meteitei konyo akoi Nandi Hills nekichule kebwone kituitosi kipsigis ak Nandi kou keny. Kimakomi kiwotet eng kipsigis ak Nandi, kimakomi kiwoto kituyot kipsigis ak Nandi. Ko nguno ko abaibai amu oret nekokechop nguno meche kechop konyo kobun Meteitei nyokotokoi Nandi Hills sosokwo akoi Eldoret. Ne notok ko oret nelitit nengomi ng'olyo kebendi kipsigis akobwa kipsigis kitwae. Ng'alek nokamwa Gloria man ko yakang'algei lakwa komami ng'olyo nekeyoe, makiyoe kiy amu kamelen koyoe intentional, koyoe ko kit naet nekamakong'en komami kiy nekiibi yotok king'ololi boisiek chok koek ng'alek lagok. Kyokose kele kole kiibi chi anan kianyinyi chi ko chekachito intentional tuguk chekayai. Lakini choyoe lagok cho tuguk chekoyoe chi nemengen akot inye ndeyoe kiy neu nekelel akomaingen nyokoibu ng'alek lagok akotuyotin boisiek kyok kiotok Meteitei chi. Ko nguno ko kikwai lakwa nekikwai kiy nekikwai kelen ng'alek lagok tugul yotok akotestai. Mameche koboisie chi eng siasa, matkoboisie chi eng or age tugul. Kotuyo sekechil chi achita komataka iman amu kobit tuguk tugul chekakinde siasa korot age tugul, kinde siasa korot age tugul. Kaikai biik kyok ko kalenjin ongeiste ochenge tengek ngakicheng chito kicheng tengek sois akot choe koilik kabile yoki limung ako merik yotok amu yeu pattern personal tactic merik yotok kochenge biik alake tengek tong oret noe akot choe kole chito senendech kokibechi age kole ko ang'eti ine boisyot sikinamati senendech lok muren age ketecheng ne aliametep korok. Kongoi mising inosea kalenji biik kyok kongoi mising kibelu. Kongoi kwanet kimnatet Daktari Sambo.
Kongoi nyongi kwanet enteltiarana konamchi barak kongoi mising. Ye chango kwanetab kolo rauni kolo kasi en wikit. Karon kotsap kasi en wikit anyun ketindoi kwanetab kotisap. Ole chobotin icheket kale ng'ololen boisionik employment icheket ng'ololen nonitet siretab kiboitinik anan biik mising ko neranik ng'wany une mi cheso neo nebo kwong'utiet nyonitet ng'wany ndakitou boisionik biashara anan ne ak boisionik en olon kotou biik icheket koetu kochang'itu boisionik en neranik chetesetai nebo kwong'ut kasari akoboto akot digital boisionikab chekiboisien computer ak muswoknotetab kasari kibore digital AI nikoko barak mising en ng'wondut. Imuch itobote chito en meseng'ung en singiroileng'ung ak iyai kasit iyochi kasit biik chemi Amerika komunchi chemi Amerika en computer kityo taitindoi tuguchon tugul chombo AI. Miten internet, miten computer, mine imuchi iyai boisionik oldo age ak iboisie chemi Kenya oldo age en Kenya kora ak iyai boisionik kora inyendet. Ng'ololen kwanet chonitet kitestoito boisionik boroinwekab boisionik ko chotok karon saisiek cheuchu ak kwanetab kotsap. Ko kong'eten anyun ainab Keles amachale kwanetab kolok kongoi mising ak awekte soet ko Nairobi Kass FM International Studio. Kisigele international komabo Kenya negen, international kokile bo ng'wondut komugul. kino America kibara Kass FM ko international gibaro negonyito Dr. Joshua Sike Joshua ok ugilionde nyon Kiptui Kasarata ke sirganet official gile Kass FM international kuna machawekta kitushi nyon diba Kass FM international Nairobi kuna Gladys Yator soet nagatakuwa na nene kwa takula cha mitugul kwa daktari kipecha rapsambu na keres na lenjo ichi imna nayo Gladys.
Atachin chitab kolenchi neloyab emet cheitun eng ketesiet noton ichame nebo Kass TV watile eng kila kasitab aeng kemi twan eng kibagenge kainenyu ko Shadrack Mutai Itagat. Kotoi en betut nebo raini rutoitanyin President William Ruto en county nebo Narok kokoito kurset en meng'ik kokochi kasubet serikalinyin neboto kokochi inendet boroindo nebo kelewen en kasarta nebo oeng lewenisiet nekiyoe en kenyit nenyone.
Hapa Narok tuko na jamii zote za Kenya. Musikubali viongozi ambao wanataka kutuletea fitina ya ukabila. Sisi tunataka tutembee pamoja kama Wakenya, kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu, kujitenga ni udhaifu. Wale watu ambao hawana agenda wanatuuzia sera ya siasa ya mambo ya ubaguzi, mambo ya chuki, mambo ya ukabila, mambo ya fitina. Sisi tunawaambia Kenya hiyo haiko na sisi tena. Hawa wananchi wanataka kuungana, wanataka barabara ijengwe, wanataka stima waunganishiwe, wanataka watoto wao wasome, wanataka matibabu hospitalini. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Tuendelee ama tuendelee? Tuendelee ama tuendelee? Kwa hivyo nyinyi watu wa Narok mnasemaje? Ati Narok mnasemaje? Ati Narok mnasemaje? Narok North mnasemaje? Narok mnasemaje? Hebu nione tutam ya Narok, nione tutam. Mimi naona kuna watu tutaonyesha kivumbi watashangaa. Si ndio? Na nimewaambia wale watu, unajua wale watu ni wakulipwa. Wale watu ni wakupangwa. Wale watu ni vibaraka. Wameambiwa ati wakuje wapinge mimi, wapinge SHA, wapinge barabara, wapinge housing. Mimi nataka niwaambie nyinyi watu wa kutumwa, watu wa vibaraka wa mtu fulani. Nyinyi tafuteni sera my friends. Hawa wananchi wanataka kuchagua sera ambayo itawapeleka mbele. Wanataka agenda ya kuwapeleka mbele. Wanataka mpango ya kuwapeleka mbele. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Na mimi nimewaambia juzi, hata kama wewe umelipwa, hata kama wewe umekodeshwa, hata kama wewe umepangwa, umeambiwa kwenda pinga housing, wewe uweze kutumia akili kidogo. Ujue hii housing utapinga namna gani? Ati unakuja kutuambia ati unapinga housing kwa sababu kuku haiwezi kupanda stairs ama haiwezi kupanda orofa. Wewe tumia akili my friend, wacha ufala. Si watu wengi walikuwa wanaongea mambo ya Mau. Si hii Mau imefanywa siasa miaka nyingi. Mimi niliwaambia ya kwamba Mau haitafanywa siasa tena. Hii Mau sasa tumetoa title deed ya Mau
iko mali ya watu wa Narok County na iko na title deed yake. Hakuna mtu atakanyaga Mau tena, na ile wananchi walikuwa wanaishi hapa karibu wote tumewapatia title deed zao na tumetoa title deed ya Mau. Sasa Mau iko secure. Ile kitu tutaendelea kufanya ni kuweka fence maneno ya Mau, kwa sababu Mau ni ya muhimu, inatuletea mvua, inatusaidia mambo ya mazingira. Vile vile niliwaambia mambo ya Kedong. Mambo ya Kedong mimi nimemaliza. Nimetoa ekari 10,000 nikasema iende kwa wananchi wa hapa Narok na muendelee na
Kokikoito kurset koityi kandoik ak biikab emet koamda kalyet eng kasarta nechopchingei lewenisiet nekiyoe en kenyit nenyone. Kabinetonen tuyet nekaindochi kibagengeit noton nebo NCIC eng kibagenge ak noton nebo IEBC oletokyingei noton koito kurset nebo kobit kalyet ak kibagenge kichopchingei lewenisiet nekiyoe en kenyit nenyone kenyitab 2027.
We must elect good people. Imagine when we talk about Gunism and all that. Can you imagine if you had a parliament of thugs? Yeah. Because if you glorify leaders who excite you on a stage with violence, and you think that that is the best example of leadership, then eventually you're going to have a parliament that is full of thugs. That's going to be the consequence. People who don't respect the rule of law. You'll be creating a very dangerous institution, clothed as a parliament, but it is a dangerous institution. So we need to really think through some of these things. There's no fun when you see young people dead, either through a bullet or through a machete or through a blunt object that has been used against these people. We must deal with these things squarely, collectively. We must not allow political lynching.
The Ministry of Interior stands ready to work with NCIC and IEBC and all the relevant agencies to translate the roadmap into action. The 2027 general election must demonstrate that Kenya can compete politically without sacrificing peace, unity, and national progress.
I am the first person who would love to have uchaguzi bila norm. Within 350 days to the 10th of August 2027, which is the D-Day for our general elections 2027. So this date is no longer a distant date in our calendar. It is a date that is that will be a defining moment to our republic, because our electoral history carries some both painful lessons but also good lessons. In some of these elections, those of you who recall 1992, 1997,